The mics are rolling.
So we're recording right now because I was about to talk about the Me and Girlfriend anime I'm watching.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but I don't want to talk about that live on podcast.
Why not? It's your job.
That's
You're Mr. Anime.
That's John time, okay? Not everything has to be a big fucking introspective look at why I do the things I do. Sometimes I just do them.
And that's why you should watch Step On Me.
That's not an anime. I would know about it if that was an anime. It's not. What do you guys want done with your body when you die?
You could be like a ventriloquist puppet.
I do not want to be made into a flesh puppet. I would like
that's going to make the podcast kind of awkward then.
sky burial.
Sky burials are fucking badass. Do not Google sky burials. If you know what they are, that's cool.
Yeah.
If you don't, maybe don't Google what a sky burial is.
I'd be a big fan of sky burials.
I
would live with them forever. I think just like at this point, I think just leave me. Just wherever I am.
Just leave you.
That's my place now. Just give me this one thing and then just forget about me forever.
So,
I don't want like an autonomous Twitter account tweeting about anime in 20 years. Just forget about me. That's all I ask anyone.
let it be.
Just let it be.
I'm going to be covered in like a light plastic mold and put into a figure cabinet with my anime figures.
That's great. Yeah, that's really good.
Can we paint big anime eyes on you? Just so you fit in a little bit.
Oh yeah. No, you can do whatever.
Can I dress you up?
Yeah, I'm dead. You can do whatever you want.
Great.
Yeah. I'm gonna
swap
dress up
accessories.
as like a chef someday.
Yeah. Couldn't cook while I was alive, but you know.
That's the ironic joy of it. And sometimes I'm just gonna stare at it and be like, "Who's laughing now, Bryan?"
Me, because I have a big fucking smile on my face. Because I'm a chef.
Yeah.
Just like Jon Favreau.
Just like Jon Favreau in the greatest movie of all time, Chef. What's wrong, Bryan? It's a good movie.
I've never seen it,
So
but
it's just Jon Favreau with two of the most beautiful women in the world, and there's nothing wrong with that. And he directed it, and he wrote it.
Is this a real movie?
yes,
Oh my
it's
god!
a movie.
Like, wait, this seems less
It's a
fake.
movie that stars Jon Favreau, written and directed, starring Jon Favreau, and the supporting actresses are Sofia Vergara and Scarlett Johansson, and he's in a relationship with both of them.
See, Niamh, I know
But
that
there's
doesn't
no
make
conflict.
sense. Yeah, there's no conflict. I know it doesn't make sense, but you have to understand just how good he is at making sandwiches in this movie. I hated that movie. I feel like we go on this rant like once every year and a half on this podcast
know,
about
but it's
Chef being a
fun.
shitty movie.
I've no interest in seeing it because at the time we were living together and you came back from the cinema and you were pissed.
Yeah, I was like, fuck that. What a stupid movie. Okay, so literally, the entire movie is he's with Scarlett Johansson. He cooks her like fucking shitty noodles in her gross apartment. Then he gets in a like van with his son and they drive around for an hour and a half and sell sandwiches. And then he goes back to his mansion where Sofia Vergara lives, and everything's fine. That's the whole fucking movie. There's no story, and everyone's like, it's a real slice of modern America. Get fucked. No, it wasn't. It was a fever dream of an idiot.
It's the movie he wanted to make.
I think you'd like it, Niamh.
I don't think so.
No, I don't.
Although Tybalt, the guy who plays Tybalt in Romeo plus Juliet, is in it. I can't pronounce his name. John
Leguizamo.
There we go.
He's also Luigi in the live-action Mario Brothers movie.
Oh god,
I think he was
has
in
a very
Spawn
colourful
as well,
career.
wasn't
He plays the violator in Spawn, and he's also in The Happening as Mark Wahlberg's friend.
He was so handsome in Romeo plus Juliet.
He's very good. He's also in a film called The Pest, and that is a fucked up movie.
Yeah.
Not because it's like fucked up, but just because it's just fucking weird.
I've heard it described as the most aggressively annoying movie of all time.
It is irritating. It is like chewing on tinfoil. He was making a face. It's just unpleasant.
Niamh, you should watch the first 5 minutes of The Pest, and if you can get past that, I'll be
I don't
amazed.
think I can. Just even the name of it.
Niamh, you got two choices. You got to either watch The Pest or Chef. Which one are you going to watch?
I would say go with The Pest, because The Pest is going to like stimulate you in some way. You know, like you are going to feel things.
I'll feel things where Chef will bore me.
Chef is just boring, and then you know you realize that people like it, and you just kind of feel bad about art. You know, and that's not. No one needs that. There's the first 5 minutes are a opening rap act in which at one point he's like in the shower rapping, and he puts like the suds on his head, and he shapes himself like a vampire and goes blah to the camera.
Who among us hasn't?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your go-to suds things? I like the wizard personally.
What's the wizard? Just a
You
beard?
just do a hat, and you can do, yeah. I guess the beard's the most important part, but it's pretty easy to get a hat going.
I like doing the Yeti.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet you, Niamh.
I don't think I do anything with suds.
I feel like you really dragged us down this conversation.
Sorry,
path.
I do a bra.
No, let me just.
And I go, ooh, titties, no more. Is that what you wanted to hear, John? My suds bra. And then sometimes I put a tie on because it's business bra time.
Niamh.
She's got to go to work, John.
Yeah,
I
okay.
gotta go to work.
It's a busy day.
You brought that on yourself.
I'm so glad the
I
docket is
always
empty.
do. I always fucking do. Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast, the world's strongest video game podcast. I am sitting here with two of the best damn fishermen to ever walk the seven seas. To my left, they call him the Hook. It's Bryan.
Nothing will ever be released.
And
I'm holding it all in.
guys, I think this episode's a really bad idea. To my right, they call her the Real. It's Niamh.
I have a shell bra now.
I mean, I'm sure you could pull off a shell bra.
Thank you.
Yeah. And with you always, it's your host, the Nameless King. It's John.
Okay.
Guppy.
What?
I don't think you can go nameless king after doing a sea kind of base thing, so...
The Nameless Ocean King.
Oh,
Sure, there you go.
Perfect.
Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
That's very nautical. So, I was going to do a little statement.
Okay.
From now on, at least for this episode, going to be not spicy. Going to not make jokes at the expense of the sexual weaknesses of my friends.
That is... What a sentence. Like, I'm kind of horrified by its meaning, but that's a powerful combination of words.
But it's true, isn't it?
I mean,
I've been doing it too many episodes in a row. And this episode, I'm going to try and avoid it. Niamh's already been way spicier than I have in the
I put on a tie.
Hey,
you know what? To be fair,
look,
she did.
to me, we're what, like 140 episodes into this thing?
This is episode 139.
This, if you listen to this podcast and you're like, this was a bit spicy for me, it's your own fault for listening at this point.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to apologize or anything like that. I do want to apologize, but I'm not going to apologize.
Okay.
I'm not sorry. I apologize
Yeah.
for nothing.
Oh, actually, you know what? I think let's keep this apology train going. I have something I'd like to apologize for. I watched a story summary of Yakuza 7, Yakuza Like a Dragon. And I think I've been I've been pretty hard on that game for kind of just its gameplay and the general level of presentation. How I feel like, as I said, I won't go back into it all, but like that it's kind of lost a lot of what made that series great. And after watching a story summary and realizing what it was going for and everything, I'd like to apologize for not including the story in my previous criticisms, because that's a dumb fucking story for stupid babies.
Oh my God.
It's so shitty and everyone likes it. It's like, how many fucking babies are in the locker? It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard, and that's a terrible Yakuza game. What's your apology, Niamh?
I haven't had... ask me by the end of the episode.
Okay.
Oh, the guilt will come out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it'll happen. Who amongst us has watched the Mortal Kombat movie?
Not me, but both of you have. So 2 people.
Why haven't you watched it, Brian? This seems like something you'd...
I'm not old
Gobble
enough. I've got it. I torrented it off the internet because I don't have HBO Max because I live in Ireland.
Yep.
Mom.
Niamh, I don't know about you, but like to me, a kind of interesting thing about this movie was like it was kind of, you know, a movie for tweens with the most R-rated deaths.
Yeah.
Wow, some of those deaths. They
were pretty gory.
They went for it. Mm-hmm. The Kung Lao special.
Did you like it?
I wasn't bored. You know, like I couldn't say I loved it. It had some okay fighting. Kano was very good. Sonya was pretty cool.
Kano kind of carried it a little bit.
He did a bit.
Yeah. Like, he was a jerk in it, but, like, he was a very entertaining jerk.
I felt that actor was kind of the only one on set really giving it socks.
Yeah.
Niamh, let me ask you a question.
Go on.
Did you think he kissed his mom?
What?
Because I was listening to Bombcast earlier and they said this, and this was what I thought as well. Your introduction to the character, the main character, is he's like a new original character. He's not a member of Mortal Kombat. And he has a fight, and then afterwards he's like getting a burger with this young girl.
Yeah.
And they look, to me, not that much older than each other, like in the same age range.
I thought at the start that they were brother and sister.
Yes. And then she's like, oh, look, here's mom. And he stands up and just kisses her. And for a second, I went, oh! And then I was like, oh, okay. But the way they framed the scene, it was like ambiguous as to their relationship. And it really shocked me. It knocked me for a loop.
I think at that point, I just was like, okay, they're married.
Okay.
And that's their daughter.
Because I hit that shortly after, but I think I just went into that scene thinking they were brother and sister, and therefore that he had just kissed his mom.
Yeah, I can absolutely see where that comes from, because when she's making the friendship bracelet and everything, I was just like, it's very nice that you do that for her brother.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when she was in the corner for him and stuff, I thought it was cool that there was like, cool, probably people hate it, but I like that they have an original character in this, like Cole.
I fucking hated it.
I thought it was great.
What a shitty character.
Original the character.
He's like, for a while I was like, maybe they're going to do a reincarnation thing and he's actually the new Scorpion.
I kind of thought that's what they were going for.
Same, but then they give him his own power, his own look, and I'm like, will they put him in the game now?
Absolutely not. He would be way too shitty for Mortal Kombat.
Maybe.
Niamh, okay. He was like a nice looking man.
Yeah, he's very handsome.
Very, very handsome. No complaints there. Everything else about him was terrible.
I liked his weird gold top.
That's nice.
He's a very fitted gold suit that that's his power.
I like.
He was... I just don't get, like, you have Mortal Kombat... You have literally like nearly 3 decades worth of really interesting characters that have stood the test of time, that have actually told interesting stories at this point, and your first thing you do is put in this fucking self-insert nobody.
As someone who loves Alice from the Resident Evil movies, I thought it was fine because what I gather what they were doing with this, and based on the ending and everything, this is going to be a franchise. They're going to do another 4
So here's
movies.
my counter to that. He was no Alice.
Yeah, he wasn't, but he's just fish out of water enough, and kind of like, I did think it was lame that he beat some of the more iconic Mortal Kombat characters.
Goro.
Yeah, like
Goro, he...
Like Goro, they did Goro dirty.
Yeah, they did Goro real dirty. He should not have jobbed out.
But he seems like a way to introduce this convoluted lore to people who don't really know Mortal Kombat.
Okay, here's my problem with this, and I have this problem with so many different things. I hate audience surrogate characters. I've never ever seen a good one. It's like the Ann Perkins thing. I'm rewatching Parks and Rec at the moment, and I feel like if every episode of Parks and Rec was 17 minutes and had the 5 minutes of Anne cut out, you'd have a dramatically better show.
But Anne is so sweet and cute.
No, she's just beautiful, Niamh, and it's the same with this guy. He's so beautiful. There's nothing else there.
That's fair.
She is beautiful, though.
She's ultra beautiful. And like Rashida Jones, cool actor. Ann Perkins can fuck off.
I mean, what's the main woman's name?
Leslie, nope.
Leslie needs a friend, and Anne is her friend. And
what if we gave Leslie a good friend?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's
I'm pro Anne.
further
I'm pro
than
Anne.
I thought I'd get, honestly.
Going back to Mortal Kombat, I will say about this, I was surprised at how really nice looking that movie is. Like, and okay, I am coming straight off of like Monster Hunter as my last video game movie, which looked ugly and was all close up shots with shitty sand locations. This had like sets that were dense and full of like
that
stuff
first
in them.
set,
Yeah,
beautiful.
there was cool stuff, and there was full like you can actually see the combat choreography, and some of it was good, some of it not great.
Yeah.
There was a bit of a the Sonya versus Kano fight. Some of it looked a bit slow. Some of it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
There was bits of it that I was like, this is really good, but it needs some extra punch. But I was surprised at how good it actually looked overall.
Yeah, no, it looked nice. I liked Sonya in it as well.
Yeah.
I thought she was a cool lady.
I thought it was pretty fun how she was kind of like odd man out because she didn't have the Mortal Kombat scar that like offers them entry into the Mortal Kombat tournament.
Yeah.
And she was just really wanted this to be forced to fight for Earth.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting character thing
that was
for her.
kind of nice. It was really silly.
Oh yeah, it was super silly.
My absolute favorite part of the whole movie was Jax loses his arms, as he does, and so they bring him to a Shaolin temple. They leave the room, a conversation happens, and they go back into the room, and Jax has cybernetic arms, no explanation.
That's really good. That's a really good way to solve a problem.
I think the implication is that the Shaolin monks gave him cybernetic arms, but they never talk about it. And they're like shitty cybernetic arms. They're not good. But then his special power is better cybernetic arms.
Does Sub-Zero do anything?
Yeah, he does a lot.
He's kind of like the main antagonist, kind of.
Okay, so they don't underuse him.
No, he's used a lot. He is a terrible assassin. His job is to kill people, and people do not die, even though he reports them to be dead quite often.
Yeah, he'll always be like, and now time to finish them off by freezing them. And it's like, maybe you should stop doing that, Sub-Zero.
I like when he froze people that you could see their skin kind of like crack and get bloody
Those
under the
freeze
ice.
effects were pretty cool.
They were pretty cool.
Does he freeze anyone and shatter them into like 1,000 pieces?
See, no, because everyone he fights has to survive so he can face them later. So, like, there's one bit where they find a frozen body and there is a ice sword impaled through the frozen body. He's the one who takes away Jax's arms, and if you've seen that in the trailer, it's pretty fucking cool.
So when they do
But even then, when the monks take him to the temple, they're like, well, it's a good thing the ice cauterized his wounds.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just a bad power for killing people, Sub-Zero.
What are the finishers in Mortal Kombat called again?
Fatality.
Are there fatalities at the end of this movie?
Everyone gets a chance to do their special move.
Okay.
There's one Kung Lao fatality, and Kung Lao's whole deal is that he has a sharp cowboy hat. And there's a really fucking nasty fatality with that really, like, I was kind of shocked. I was like, whoa.
It was pretty gruesome, especially with the character in it. Like, there's a lot of build-up, like, my pretty, and there's a lot of... She'll get a speaking line.
Oh, when she gets going, she's gonna kick ass. And
no.
And I like Natara a lot. She deserved better. I really loved the look of Melina in this. She's the girl with the mouth. She was so fucking cool looking. I thought, like, her outfit and her makeup was just awesome.
I thought most characters looked pretty good, to be honest.
Sub-Zero and Scorpion looked a little janky to me, and that was kind of disappointing because they're Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and you can literally recreate their outfit with a pair of jeans and it looks rad. I've done that.
He has.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how that would look.
So you get a pair of jeans, right? And so I want you to imagine you're holding, like, the legs in your hands.
Okay.
And you fling it over
your shoulders
so that the crotch is at the back of your neck.
Okay.
And then you just get one leg like that and one leg like that diagonally tucked into your belt, and all of a sudden you have the Mortal Kombat V.
You sure do.
It's really weirdly convincing, and then when you go to a party, people be like, cool costume, and you can turn around and show them, like, the pockets on your back, and they'll be like, oh!
Do they play the song at any point, or do they have a remix of the classic Mortal Kombat song
Yes,
from the
and
original
yes.
film?
Yes.
Okay.
It's basically like the musical motif. The entire movie is like building up to that, and then at the end, in the end credits, they play an inferior version of the 90s techno. So, if you've watched the original Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, it's
it's
great.
so much fun, and I
This
think
does not go anywhere near that.
No, but it wasn't bad.
No.
It was fine. I think like there was I think it was the same with you guys, where I think we saw that trailer and maybe we were expecting a bit like Mortal Kombat The Raid, because they really put like 95% of the good bits in that trailer.
Yeah.
It's not that, but it is a pretty okay way to kill like an hour and a half.
I was entertained for the entire thing, but like afterwards I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I think 3 stars is kind of right.
That's where it is for me. Where like if I saw it in the cinema, big screen with a bunch of friends, that seems like a fun time kind
Yeah.
of thing. Maybe being alone watching at home isn't the best place for it, but I don't know. The bar of video game movies is so low
Yes.
that if you rate it with video game movies, it's a very good one. But if you rate it as a movie on its own, you're just like, eh, you know.
So the best reviewed video game movie is Angry Birds 2.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Apparently it's a genuinely good film. I've not watched it, but
I mean, you could do
as
whatever
a
you
family
want.
animated comedy, it's meant to be like really good.
Yeah, like you could do whatever with those characters because there's so little to it. I'm sure if you got a good writer, he could do some fun stuff with it.
Yeah. The guy who made Flapjack directed the second movie.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. He was a nice man.
Yes.
It's hard to watch people like Shang Tsung when like Shang Tsung in the old movies is like, that is such an iconic role. Like he just plays it up with like the most delightful camp, and it's hard to see like a pretty monotone sort of nothing Shang Tsung out of that. But yeah, like I criticize it because I like Mortal Kombat and I love that old movie, but it was fine. Like it was a decent way to spend time. Bryan,
Yes.
why don't you tell us about what's on your mind, buddy?
I watched a film called Nobody. Do you guys know what this film is?
Sounds familiar.
Is this the kind of John Wick style one?
Yes.
Oh, with the Saul.
With Saul Goodman. Okay, so this is a Bob Odenkirk action movie. And it's very stylized, and it kind of takes place in a secret world of crime similar to John Wick, and it really feels like John Wick. So it's directed by a Russian guy called Ilya Naschler. He directed a movie called Hardcore Henry, which was
That's the first person one.
the first person action movie, which was all style and no substance. Didn't do very well in the reviews. I think I watched it. It's very forgettable. He's a music video director, and his ideas work in 5-minute concepts, but as a 90-minute feature, maybe not so much.
Do you know what music videos he's done?
Let me get them up. I think he did some for System of a Down.
Oh, cool.
For Serge from System of a Down, and videos for The Weeknd and Biting Elbows. I don't know who Biting Elbows are.
Me neither.
I'm too old. But I know who Serge Tankian is because I love System of a Down.
Who doesn't?
If you don't like System of a Down,
I don't think I've ever met anyone who doesn't like them.
turn the volume down right now.
Okay.
Keep listening to the podcast, but turn the volume all the way down and listen to some System of a Down, then come back to us.
If you don't like System of a Down, just open up your podcast app, go to Let's Fight a Boss, unsubscribe, and stop listening to this episode. I'm going to give people 5 seconds to do that. So, Bryan, Nobody.
This is a action movie starring Bob Odenkirk, and it's an over-18s action movie similar to John Wick in that it's hyper-violent. And it is about a suburban dad who lives every day is exactly the same kind of day, and he's kind of pathetic, and he doesn't really have the respect of his family, doesn't drive a car to work, gets a bus to work, which I thought was kind of interesting because you never see like characters getting the bus to work.
No, whenever you see a character getting a bus in a movie, it's because like things are going really bad, because that's what like Hollywood writers think of when they think of things going bad.
But he gets a bus to work because he just doesn't drive a car, and he has a bus pass and everything. And similar to John Wick, he gets in an altercation with a bunch of young Russian mafia crime boys that are lower ranking but have a connection with someone at the top. Bob Odenkirk snaps into killer mode, and as the film kind of progresses, we learn that he was a CIA assassin. And he's gone into hiding retirement. And he beats the shit out of them. And Bob Odenkirk does his own stunts in this movie, and he's really good. I was not expecting him to fucking fight, but he does. And he still looks like Bob Odenkirk. Like, to me, Bob Odenkirk, like, because he's been in TV shows for years and movies, but he's never been like a leading man until, I guess, Better Call Saul. But like, he's not who I think of when you think of like an action movie.
No,
star.
any movie or any TV show he's been in, like, physicality is not his strong suit.
No, like he's very good at fast talking. Like he's very good with words, not so much with his body. But yeah, no, he did his own stunts. He did all his own training for this movie, and the fight scenes are brutal. I'm trying to think of other, you know, that David Cronenberg movie, the other Russian mafia movie, Eastern Promises.
Oh, we watched that once, didn't we?
Like that is some dirty, raw knife fights.
Yeah.
That like, those are not clean fights with connecting punches. Those are like,
you are seeing knuckles get like chipped.
Yes. So there's a bit where a guy gets like smacked in the face, and you see him like coughing up all his teeth. Like it's a rough time.
Yikes.
Long story short, he needs to hide his family and get revenge on the Russian mafia. And you kind of learn more about him and his family as it goes on. He has, his dad is played by Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd, who I keep thinking has retired from acting, but he's semi-retired. I think he's in his 80s now, but like he still looks the exact same as he did in Back to the Future, because he's one of those actors that aged when he was in his late 40s and has looked the same for the last 40 years. So Chris Lloyd is in it as his dad, and you get to see Chris Lloyd beat up a bunch of people and shoot people with a shotgun.
I'll watch that.
Here's my question.
Fucking nuts.
So you know the way John Wick is really likable because what gets him on his journey is his dog is killed, and that sucks. And
yeah, but
everyone's rooting for John Wick.
It really humanizes him.
Yeah, is the character's name is Hutch Mansell, which is bad name.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know.
Hutch Mansell?
Hutch Mansell!
Is Hutch Mansell a likable protagonist, or is just the action good?
As the movie goes on, I actually started to like him. For the first half hour, I was like, this is just nothing. But as it goes on, and he kind of, and like, because the way the character works is that as soon as he kind of gets plunged into this like life of crime again, and he has to watch his back, he kind of becomes more confident. So when he's around his family, he's like a really, really nice husband. He's great to his kids. The reason he goes after the mafia is because they steal his daughter's cat ring. She has a ring with a cat on it. There's a bit where their house gets burgled as well.
Okay.
It might have been that.
Yes. Actually, yeah, because before you find out like what's really going on, there's a bit where someone recognizes a tattoo on his arm and that he's like some CIA special forces. And then this character locks himself behind a door and goes, okay, you can talk now, because they're so scared of him.
That sounds pretty cool.
I've heard they want to make a sequel, or they want to do a crossover with John Wick.
I was just going to ask that. Is this going to be a Freddy versus Jason situation?
I think you gotta let him get to 3 movies first.
Yeah.
I think that'd be that.
Do we need 3 movies of nobody?
Well, you're getting them.
He has a adopted half brother played by the RZA. And at the end, him and Christopher Lloyd go on a road trip. They are absolutely setting up a sequel in which Doc Brown and the RZA go on a fucking fighting spree.
Sure.
Yep. Okay.
Do you think John Wick, it'll be John Wick versus Hutch Mansell, or will they team up?
It's going to be every
They're
one of
gonna
those
fight
movies.
at the start.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, oh, you're pretty strong. But then the mafia come in, they're like, looks like the only way to take them down is together.
Yeah.
That's
your muscles are pretty big.
That's what annoys me with all those things.
Never mind. You want to see my tie?
Want to see my soap bra?
We're not sorry.
Sometimes just this podcast, it's like it jams my brain and I can't move forward, and it's difficult because I'm the host.
Host this, John. You're kind of cool.
Thanks, Bryan. Okay, now stop.
Gotta do all the kisses.
The Tale of Princess Kaguya.
This is Isao Takahata's last film.
Sure.
He died. It's really sad. He was very old.
That is very sad. He was very talented. Yeah, this is a Studio Ghibli film from 2013, I think, and I just hadn't watched it. Do you guys ever watch a movie where, like, there's parts of it you really love, and then large stretches of it where it's not doing anything for you, and it becomes a super difficult film, I guess, to, like, form a coherent opinion on?
That's like all of Takahata's films.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What other stuff has he done?
Pom Poko.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
No, he did Grave of Fireflies, and that's a fantastic movie.
yeah, that's an amazing movie.
But he did Pom Poko, and he did My Neighbors the Yamadas, which is pretty good.
I really like that movie, but similarly, there's parts of it where I'm like, okay, let's keep it going here.
Next scene, please.
Yeah, because like the first 30 minutes of this movie are like 30 of my favorite visual moments of animation. It's just a small child in nature having fun, and it's fucking so beautiful, and like the animation is so simple. It's all done in like that kind of sumi like ink style, and the characters are really simply drawn, but like their movement and their expression it just conveys so much, and I was completely in love with it. Like I really love that side of it. It's about this girl who basically, her dad finds her in like a chunk of bamboo, and he takes her home, and she's like a god, and she starts growing up really quickly, and then he finds a bunch of gold in the forest, and he takes her to the city, and then like there is like interesting stuff, especially about like what it was like for rich young women in like feudal Japanese society, and it's awful. And like they go into like a lot of the like weird traditions of it, how they'd like dye their teeth black and all this kind of stuff. And like that stuff was interesting. It was just stretched out for nearly 2 hours. Yes. And by the end of it, like I was just so ready for the film to end. It's interesting that he did Grave of the Fireflies as well. I didn't know that, because like there's a misery to this movie that I think really creeps up on you. Like the first 30 minutes are so joyous, and then after that, like it really becomes about this like young woman's spirit just being crushed. And like it's good, but it's, I guess when the film presents such a strong visual showcase at the start, I really had trouble kind of jumping tracks and like trying to appreciate it from this other level. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does get into a slog, and it is just them exhausting the resources of a deity.
Yeah.
And just, I guess, humans taking advantage of her.
Yeah.
But like in a really slow gaslighting way.
Yeah. And like there is a kind of misery to it, which I usually appreciate. But it was just a weird one. It felt really kind of like, it felt like nearly two different movies. And like it's totally worth watching if you want to see like some really beautiful animation. But it really does turn into a slog. And then I was like, what would I rate this? And I was like, well, I really love parts of it, and then I really didn't like parts of it. So maybe like a 3. And then I realized I would also rate Mortal Kombat a 3, and that made me feel weird.
They're the same film.
They're the same film.
Princess Kaguya, I don't know if this happened in the end, but the intention was this was meant to be Takahata's last film, which it was. And then Miyazaki's last film was meant to be The Wind Rises. And they were supposed to show them in the cinema back to back. Because when they originally launched Ghibli in the late 80s, when Takahata and Miyazaki were making films back to back, then they did Grave of Fireflies and My Neighbor Totoro as a double bill.
Oh, wow.
And I think they did Grave of Fireflies first, and then Totoro to cheer people up.
Yeah, that's what you should do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know they're both set in the past, around the 1940s. But I think with these movies that they're both historical movies as well, Japanese historical movies. I think the idea was that they were supposed to be shown back to back, but Takahata had this film in production hell and it took like a year longer than it was meant to before it came out.
Yeah, it's a film that just keeps going.
Yes, lots of ideas. Some of them aren't good.
The ending's really weird and grim.
Yeah.
It's like, it starts doing a very like children's movie thing where like two options are presented, what's about to happen, and like they make it seem like the bad thing's going to happen, but it's not. Like someone's going to save the day. And then the bad thing just happens and it's like, oh. And then the credits start rolling and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the moral is you shouldn't have done that, and this is what happens when you do.
Princess Kaguya, you shouldn't have done that. Real quick, I also watched Doukyusei. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's Classmates in Japan, and it's this 1 hour movie, and it's basically just about two guys in a Japanese high school who just realize they're in love, and it has this really, really gorgeous art style. And it's weird because like I don't watch a lot of romance anime. A lot of the time I just don't really like how romance is portrayed in anime. I feel like it's just so steeped in tropes that it just becomes kind of unwatchable to me. And this really, to me, felt like a really like genuine, heartfelt romance, and it had like the super sweet aspects of it. It had like the kind of more like emotional side of it, and like it was good at conveying like the sexuality of these characters in like a really, really authentic way. And I ended up like really, really loving it. It's like, it's really gorgeous. It all has this like really washed out like white look to it that like it felt like a memory in a really cool way. And I think that's really interesting because I think like for me, like I can definitely, like, without going too into things, like I would say I've had a lot of ambiguously intimate relationships with dudes, and especially in my teenage years, and this really, really felt like that in a way that like I've never seen, like not from an anime, but like just not really from anything. And it was like really sweet and sad, and I felt like in a way it was nearly like the opposite to Kaguya, in that it kind of knew exactly what it wanted to say. It took 60 minutes to say it, and like it really said it in a way that like really got to me. And I just thought it was like a fucking excellent movie. You know, I thought it was really, really brilliant, and I think people should seek that out. Strategy talk. Niamh,
Yes.
we have been playing.
It Takes Two. The Joseph Perez joint.
Oh man, I have been doing some reading up on old Joseph Perez.
Oh, really? Because like I'm not a fan of Joseph Perez. I kind of hate that he's become this meme in video game stuff. Like, and he's on the Game Awards again.
Niamh, the recording is in there.
What recording?
The recording of him saying "fuck the Oscars" is in It Takes Two.
Is it?
It's an
Where?
Easter egg.
Oh. I don't know if you saw it. Me and John have been playing It Takes Two together, but there was an Easter egg for A Way Out. There was two figures of the main characters of A Way Out in part of the room, and I was just like, great, the iconic two men.
T-shirt and other T-shirt.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of Joseph Perez. I think he's a bit of a weird guy. I agree with his fuck the Oscars thing, but I would also counter it with fuck the Game Awards as well. They're both just advertisement.
I just think we should give God of War a couple more awards.
Just one more.
Just give Jeff Keighley one.
And I did not like his last two games, like, at all.
What was the one before?
Brother, A Tale of Two Sons.
Did you play that?
I played it and I thought it sucked.
I love that game. It's
I
so
like that
good.
game.
Yeah, boys do love the game, but when he releases, like, I don't know, Sisters, A Tale of Two Daughters, that's the one I'll probably enjoy.
You see, this is the difference between me and you, Niamh. I just don't see gender. You know,
I want Persons, A Tale of Two People.
Yeah, that's what I'd like.
Yeah, I would enjoy that too, you know, where the bad guy isn't a girl who turns into a spider.
There you
I
have
want
it.
a man that
Niamh
turns
just did
into
a complete 180.
like
there you
like
go.
a bull.
But look, I thought that game was so bullshit, and I think every like male game journalist is just like, you know, just really amazing game. Really,
It's just a good game, Niamh. It's just a good fucking game. Not everything has to be this, you know what fucking men did this week? It's just a nice game. It just looks nice. You control the two characters with the sticks, and one of them
it's not
it's
even
real
about
sad.
the fact that they're boys. I just thought it was a shitty, boring game. I was bored by it.
It's real sad during the swimming part. He learns how to swim.
Yeah, what'd you think of that bit, Niamh?
don't even remember it.
That's because you didn't get there.
Shit.
That's because you didn't get there.
Niamh, come on now.
Shit. It was. I did not enjoy it one bit, and I just think people overblow it because it was the kind of
how do they overblow it if they just like it?
Okay.
I just like it.
I'm
no,
not
John.
saying you specifically, but it's always thrown out there as one of like the top indie games, and then when you play it, you're like, I guess it's okay.
Do you know, I kind of do get you there, but I'm like, yeah, look, the Spider-Woman was stupid, but I do actually get that with indie games a lot. If you play like the It indie game from like 5 years ago, so often you have the like, really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, do you guys ever get that with stuff?
Well, like for me, brothers, let's just say I think it's the greatest game ever made. And, like, you know,
Like, and I'm like if people like it, they like it, but it's just like I always
I'm
felt
gonna die on that hill.
I always felt it was one of those games that was really elevated beyond other things just because it was one of those first indies kind
I think
of
it was
things.
also
Sad
like
indie
it was
game.
also
Yeah.
like one of the first like kind of indie, kind of trip like
Yeah, it
you know?
looks very good, and
Yeah.
it's not jank.
Exactly. So I think it was just always like, yeah, that game. And I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. But so I didn't really like that, and I thought A Way Out was just fucking
So like
bad.
is there any redeeming qualities of Way Out? Because I've never played it.
You can play it with someone you enjoy spending time with, and that's
There's no one I enjoy spending time with.
well then no, you won't like that game. It's a co-op game, so you know it's something to do with someone you like. That's the plus of it for me.
Okay.
And it doesn't look horrible, but it also makes no sense because they're in a prison and there's just contextual things that makes no sense for prison characters to have access to. But I digress. I went into this thinking, I'm not going to like it. I don't like Joseph. I don't like his two other games. And I was pleasantly surprised by this experience.
I feel like our entire playthrough of this game has us been going, okay.
This is pretty good.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes, like, I go into a game with a bit of a bone to pick, and I was like, a game about divorce called It Takes Two. What are you going to say, Joseph? What are you going to say? And honestly, just been kind of shocked at the level of polish in this game. And, like, not polish in any one area, but in nearly everything.
Yeah.
It feels nice. It looks great. The voice acting's good. The story is... We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But,
Story's too whimsical.
no, it's a we'd tone. We'll
Okay,
get there.
okay.
I want to talk about like the cool stuff about it. It's the kind of game where like every 20 to 30 minutes a new mechanic is introduced, and it's really hard to get bored playing it.
Yeah.
I think.
There's a really good flow to it. Like I felt we could like talk like as you would
Yeah.
in a co-op situation, but I was never overly like we were never lost for an inordinate amount of time where we got frustrated by
There's
the
large
co-op
chunks of the game
mechanics.
where we were just
Yeah.
shooting the shit and
Yeah.
making our way through the game like without talking, without like having to talk about what to do next, and that was really cool. It's also very weird, which I like. Like I like the weird tone of it. We fought, we got in between a squirrel and a wasp war, and we fought a giant mechanized bee.
It's kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where you start off as two adult humans who get, through the power of a child's tears, you get shrunken into her two little toy versions of her parents.
And mom and dad are going to get a divorce, and they have to work it out as...
It Takes Two.
See, It Takes Two, Brian.
Okay, and...
Yeah.
All right. But look, if they're not in love, it's fine. As long as they're happy,
Yeah.
they could be co-parents.
It's interesting, like, just seeing how, like, the kind of co-op aspect does come into it, because, like, this game does not have a single player, and there's a good reason for that, because it's completely built around, like, every new section of the game is built around co-op. Like, all the enemies, that you have to do co-op things to take them down. And, like, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, you're trying to solve a puzzle and you're trying to move a pipe over here and the other person shoots out of the pipe and you're trying to aim them, and that's cool. Sometimes it's like, in the last section we played, Niamh had like a weird goo gun that would explode when I shot my matchstick gun at it.
Whoa.
And I thought that was really fun. And then like the way they use those tools in really inventive ways to do like really kind of fun puzzles and stuff, and it never really got old. Like, I didn't really feel anything ever wore out its welcome.
They changed it up enough and often enough that it never felt bored. And like once we had a certain group of powers. I had my goo gun and John had his like gun. And then when that section was over, we got totally different powers where John's character had gravity boots and she could go upside down. So John's world was flipped and my character could grow really big and shrink really small. So I could open things for John and then he could lower stuff down for my smaller self to, get up.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it was weird because like I've experienced like the kind of gravity boot power before. Like Bryan, I think there's like a couple of Zelda games like that where you walk up a wall at a 90-degree angle and the camera adjusts itself behind you, so now the wall is your ground plane and you go up on the ceiling and now this is the ground plane. I think with stuff like that, like it's cool, it's fine. You never really get a sense that you're upside down, just that your ground plane adjusts. But what was really cool about this is walking on the ceiling and seeing Niamh on the ground. There was something about that was like so disorientating and really like my mind I could feel like the gears of my mind grind trying to conceptualize it.
I guess because she's like a player character as well.
Exactly,
she's got her own thing going on.
Yeah, and it really it was really cool. It really made me consider like space,
It meaningly like flipped the environment, and because it's always split screen, even if you're not doing couch co-op, you're just doing co-op online, it's still split screen, so you can always see what the other person is doing, and that kind of helps you direct each other as well. But seeing John upside down in his world and trying to do a puzzle with that was just really interesting.
I've never really felt that before in a video game.
It felt unique. I was just like, wow, you're seeing this from a totally different perspective, and we had to kind of gather different items, and his world looks so different and my world looks so different.
Yeah.
It was a cool thing.
Did you complete the game?
No.
We're nearly there, I think.
I think we might be like halfway.
Yeah.
I think it's meant to be kind of like surprisingly long.
Whoa. Okay.
I'd say we will though. Like I'm having a good enough time to see it to the end.
Yeah, for sure.
But then there's the story, and there's a magical book called Dr. Hakim. Everyone hates Dr. Hakim. I think he's really funny.
I fucking hate that book.
Yeah. He's like a book, and he has like the real traditional, like kind of stereotypical Latin lover voice.
Yeah, like imagine a Pepe Le Pew style character where he's like, you gotta work together kind of thing. And he does like really sexy hip movements a lot of the time.
He is just oozing in sexual charisma.
Yeah,
it is dripping everywhere.
He's literally a relationship guide book.
Oh, okay. And the key to the relationship is
literally, Bryan.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah. Like you're not overselling it even slightly.
So he sounds like the Chihuahua from Oliver and Company.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
And he just makes no sense.
See, the thing I like about him is there's just something to me like borderline like psychotic. Just not even about his character, but about the fact that he's there.
Yeah.
Like I think of the person who thought this was a good idea, and it kind of makes me laugh.
That's the Joseph Perez magic sauce.
Yeah.
Like he clearly worked with a lot of great collaborators in this, because it's a gorgeous looking game and the environments change all the time, and the color scripting in this is just fantastic.
I would say it is at a point where it's like bizarrely polished.
Yeah, like one of the nicest looking games I've played this year. Like it's
and like
ridiculous.
So inventive. Like, there was one part where like for like I would say it wasn't even a minute, we just wandered through this environment and it was all like computer motherboards and it was like green and glowing, and then it was gone and we were on to the next environment,
Mm-hmm.
That's so good. I really like when they put a lot of work into something you only get to see for a second.
That is this game. Like you move through places at a breakneck speed nearly, because you just have such a flow going on, and it all looks really different and it all looks extremely detailed.
And they're all in the one house, but they're exploring like top to bottom, from like
you
the
start off
attic
in
to the garden.
tree because you're outside first, and you need to.
Okay, so it really is like Honey and I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, very much so. But then sometimes you go into like a more abstract environment, like we're in like a weird sci-fi world right now, and I don't like that as much. I feel like a lot of the, because like there's like big like generators and laser beams and stuff, and like there's no justification for that being in the house. And I would have liked if maybe the art direction, it was like a sci-fi world built from like fucking laser pointers or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not there. It's still nice looking though. We had a really fun boss fight with my favorite character of the game, Moon Baboon.
Go on.
He's just a baboon who really cares about that little girl.
Does he moon you with his butt?
No.
He's not that kind. Moon Baboon would never.
Okay, it's just because when I think of a baboon, I think of like, the bright red bottom.
No, this Moon Baboon wears pants, Brian.
What's the point?
He's wearing a full jumpsuit.
When I go to think of a baboon, I go to my like tier list of monkeys I could beat in a fight.
A baboon would rip your face off.
No
John.
argument. No argument. I'm not fucking arguing.
Sorry,
Okay.
but just a baboon would kill us all.
Okay.
But I think like monkeys, like you think about it, it's like, yeah, I could kick a monkey's ass. And then you start looking at monkeys and you go down the list and it gets pretty fucking low before you'd even stand a chance. They're horrible creatures.
Okay, could you fight Marcel from Friends?
Isn't that a little capuchin monkey?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd fucking stomp him to death in like a second.
I grab him by a tail
Oh
and
my
swing him
God.
out the window.
He would be mist and mush in like 20 seconds.
No.
And I wouldn't be happy about it, but if I'm in like the Mortal Kombat tournament and it's like, and your opponent is Marcel the monkey, I'd be like, haha, Shang Tsung, this is going to be no problem.
Hasn't
at all.
he suffered enough?
Yeah,
He
he's-
was Ross's monkey.
Yeah. Okay, how about Dunstan from Dunstan Checks In?
No, no.
What kind of monkey is he?
It was a chimp.
Yeah, he's
Fuck that, no way.
Yeah.
He would rip my face off.
Okay, I guess this is a primate fight tier list.
Do you know
Yeah.
do you know what I'd really never want to fight? An orangutan.
Well, yeah, that's because they use mind powers. That's pretty
Yeah.
much the like Xavier, like Professor X of the monkey
They're so
world.
fucking zen as well. Like
Yeah.
like the really peaceful.
Orangutans.
Yeah.
Orangutans are zen until they are not.
Exactly. No,
Exactly.
but like they're like a statue, and when they move, every single movement is the bare minimum, but it counts.
Yeah. See, I would fight a gorilla before I'd fight an orangutan because I think a gorilla would just kill you. Like, it would just punch you 3 times and you'd be dead. An orangutan would tear you apart.
Slowly.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
It
The
Takes
Mortal
Two.
Kombat movie. It's interesting. You know what's going to be a bummer though, Niamh, and I think it's going to happen. If we get to the end of that game and they're like, the whole premise of this game is that it's a husband and wife who want to get divorced.
And their daughter is very sad about it.
Yeah, and if we get to the end of that game and it's like, we're going to stay together for her, that will be such a bummer.
That would suck. I just like I wonder who like has Joseph Fiennes gone through a divorce? I don't know.
Has you not watched Mrs. Doubtfire? It gets summed up pretty well in the last 2 minutes of that movie.
It's just such a weird like who is relating to this like down to a T.
I do
who
notice
gets their ex
it's
to play
nearly
this with them?
it's nearly always the woman taking shots at the man.
Well, that's because well, I would say that the guy is also like complains all the time. Like every kind of new situation they get into, he's extremely cowardly.
Cody does suck.
And like both of us were like Cody sucks the entire way through
Yeah.
it.
So who's playing as Cody?
I'm Cody.
Okay, good. That's interesting.
Yeah, we broke gender norms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right
and
there.
if you
Tear
assumed
that shit wide open.
I have something to say. If you assumed it was the other way around, how dare you?
Yeah. We got the dad, we got the mom right here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always been that way in the podcast.
But yeah, they do bicker like a lot, and you're just kind of like they should not be together. They definitely need to break up because like they go into her room and Moon Baboom is fighting them, and like it's like, well, if you cleaned up her room, and it's just like, well, why'd you buy her such a fucking fucked up teddy bear that's trying to kill us? Kind of thing.
He's great.
I love Moon Baboon, and it's really weird, and I wonder where this is going. Not to give a plot point.
What is our current objective,
Our
Niamh?
current objective is to make our daughter cry. And they're like, we need her to cry like big fat tears. And
Fat ones.
And I
Like-
think there was a point earlier in the session, Niamh, where we were joking about things we would do to make her cry. And I think one of the things we said was like, oh, we should destroy something she loves. And then later in the session, they were like, we should destroy like a toy she really loves.
yeah.
So you're gonna fuck up Moon Baboon.
Oh, we
already
Brian,
fucked
that
up on
fucker
Moon.
is
Yeah.
dead. He's his galactic escapades are over.
Fuck him.
And like the detail in it is nuts because Moon Baboon is fighting you in the level where I can shrink down. The boss fight with him, John is like dealing with shmup style lasers, while I'm a very small man inside Moon Baboon's spaceship, and I'm going under the pedal as his foot is pressing down and like climbing over him.
That's what you were doing. I couldn't even look at your screen because it was crazy.
Yeah. I couldn't look at your screen either, and like I was like pulling apart his spaceship from the inside, and it's just like crazy levels of details that both of us are experiencing separately. Like it's a really, really well crafted game.
To the point I'm kind of like, how did this come from the same studio and director that did A Way Out? Like, I haven't played that game, but from everything I've heard about it, it does sound kind of slapped together, or kind of slapped together sort of feeling, and this is just,
My expectations were so low, and they have been met and exceeded, and I'm like a fan so far.
And like,
that's really cool.
And like, I have to say it, I know this is going to make people mad. This is my favorite 3D platformer I've played in years. Like, I would like this better than Mario Odyssey, like, no problem.
Yeah.
Like,
that's fine.
Yeah.
That game's not important.
Oh, Bryan.
Yes.
I would say overall, me and you, I definitely thumbs up.
Yeah, having a lot of fun. If you wanted a co-op game to play with a friend, this is a good time.
And the online latency is good.
Yeah. There was only a few things we ran into, especially with a gliding mission, which was...
Yeah. Outside that, though, I can't really think of too many times it was like an issue. But yeah, there was definitely a point where I feel like the gameplay was reacting to things happening in Niamh's world, but not visually kind of showing them in mine.
Is the game 60 frames per second or 30? Because if it's displaying two games... It's displaying two games at the same time.
I'm like 90% sure it's 60. I could be wrong, but it feels, I think, too good to be 30.
Wow.
Yeah, it seems good. Bryan,
yes.
Tell us about New Super Lucky's Tale.
New Super Lucky's Tale is a port of a 2017 game called Super Lucky's Tale, which came out on the Oculus Rift on computers, I believe. This got repackaged and reported and re-released as New Super Lucky's Tale in 2019 and 2020 on video game consoles. I played the Switch version, and it is a 4 to 5 hour long platformer game that is pleasant and charming and occupies your time for a weekend. And I enjoyed it for the most part.
Super Lucky's Tale was originally, at least the franchise, I think originally started out on the, God, was it the Oculus Quest?
The Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
Which was a 2012 VR machine.
Yeah.
Created by Palmer Luckey, and I think they called the main character of this, which is a cute little fox, they called him Lucky as
that's a really good idea. Hopefully nothing comes out about that guy that's going to make that decision regrettable.
Hey, it worked out for Kirby. That was just a nice lawyer that helped Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they were kind of hoping for the same thing, but it didn't work.
Yeah, and Palmer Luckey, a noted beloved...
He's sort of kind of become a recluse. He bought that Nintendo PlayStation that was on auction last year.
That?
Yeah, because he's into game preservation. I don't know if he's done anything with it, but I'm sure he is. But
cool. I'm sure his friends in his subreddit will love it.
Yeah. New Super Lucky's Tale. This is a character mascot platformer, not like Mario or sandbox platformers, although there are some sandbox levels. I compare it more to something like Astro's Playroom.
Okay.
You kind of have an A to B point, and you can kind of like zigzag through certain points, but for the most part, you're kind of funneled in one direction in terms of your levels. And the levels are really, really well modeled and nicely designed. And it's divided into several hub worlds. You play as a little fox called Lucky, and you have to find the pages of a missing book, and the book is a magic book, and then you can return to your sister and defeat the evil cat. It's a children's game.
So, like, does this game have, like, why should I play this over, many other 3D platformers?
Only reason I play this is because Balan Wonderworld had such bad reviews, and I needed something to scratch that platformer itch. And I just wanted to play something on my Switch on flight mode. I don't want to do no co-op. I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to just play a game that I could digest over a weekend, and that's exactly what it did. Like, it's not an amazing game or anything like that, but the good parts of it work, and I don't know if I'd ever play it again, but it was fine.
Perfectly functional.
Yeah, it is an acceptable Bryan game. That's how I would describe it. In terms of it being a 3D platformer, you've got your hub worlds, and then your hub worlds, you've got your levels, just like you do in any platformer. In each hub world, you get a kind of signature level, and that's kind of like the bigger level that's, you know, got a 3D camera and 3D space, and you're walking around in Z depth. In a lot of the other levels, you're playing Donkey Kong, essentially. Like, you are in a 2D plane going from screen left to screen right.
Right, okay.
And those are fairly short levels, and they kind of feel like Crash Bandicoot levels, the 2D ones. They're fine. Then you get lots of puzzle and mini-game levels. A lot of them are either you have to put certain statues on light-up pedestals, and you have to do them in a certain order, and they're fairly satisfying to solve. They're pretty easy at the start, but as the game progresses, they get fairly tricky. But I did want 100% this game, and so I did. Then there are these other levels, and they are Lucky is put inside a marble, and you have to move the marble through a wooden puzzle box and collect all the coins while avoiding the hazards. I think there was a Zelda dungeon like this, or well, not a dungeon, a Zelda shrine in Breath of the Wild like this. Doesn't use the motion controls in any of the systems, so you have to use an analog stick, and I just think everything...
Really old school Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah, and it's just like, all the controllers now have gyros in them. Why didn't they just use a gyro sensor? It's really strange. And also, this game doesn't have cloud saving, which is really unusual. I was playing on the Switch, and I own a Switch and a Switch Lite, and I thought I could bounce between the two, but I had to just have the one save on the one system. It doesn't get backed up on a cloud. And it's really strange, because I went into the settings and it was like, yeah, this game doesn't do cloud saving. And it was like, but
why?
Every game does that now. Why
I
is
kind
that?
of figured that was a system level thing and not like a game level thing.
It's a game level thing. It's really strange. It just they just chose not to have that as a feature.
There's something about cloud saving where, like, there's obviously some back end thing where it is so much more complicated than you think it would be, because it has such a history of fucking up. Niamh, you lost your like Mass Effect saves because of a cloud thing, didn't you? No?
Yes! My god, yes! Yes, my shepherd.
She blocked it out.
She didn't remember Liara. Why did you bring this back to me?
There's actual tears in these eyes.
Because of what happened.
Do you know how I lost my shepherd?
How?
I was at my cousin's house and we put my hard drive in, and then I accidentally left my hard drive, and he said he'd send it to me by registered post, and he didn't send it by registered post. He sent it by standard post. And my beautiful, romantic, less Mass Effect... I didn't like anyone in Mass Effect. I'm as charming in Mass Effect as I am in real life. And I just lost everything. And Bryan, I know you listen to this podcast on
Cousin
occasion.
Bryan, not me.
Cousin Bryan. I know you listen to this podcast on occasion. I've never gotten over that. And there's nothing you can do to ever make up for it.
He's still salty. I actually forgot about the Xbox 360 hard drives and how you'd like pin them out. Yank them out, and it was like this weird, funny L-shaped hard drive.
I don't know. There was an honesty to that I appreciated.
And I would have a big number like 60 gigs.
I remember there was like an entertainment exchange in Dublin that for ages just had like 20 of them.
I guess we're kind of back to that. Like Xbox Series S and X have the little, their own little memory cards that you stick into the back.
So close to picking up an S.
Like I'm telling you, good console, very cute, pretty dinky.
Yeah, they just put out this month's Game Pass, or the one for May.
Dragon Quest Builders 2 is coming out on like May 4th, and that's like a game that's been on my list, but I've never bought it, and now I'm like, yes, Game Pass.
Yeah,
Niamh wins.
You can give it a go.
We've already talked about it a bunch. I'm still so visually appalled by the PS4.
Yeah,
just
PS5,
horrible.
yeah,
PS5, yeah,
just awful.
It's too big.
Too big.
Get out of the way.
Brian, before we move on from Lucky's Tale, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you feel the VR-ness from it? Can you feel that it was once a VR game?
Okay, so the only remnants of it being a VR game is because it's a 3D platformer, you're not in first person, and like, what, 90% of VR games are first person games. That's kind of the immersion point. Mm-hmm. So the immersion of this is you can control the 3D camera fairly well. You can kind of hover around, you can kind of drift in and out, and around Lucky as the anchor point. If you go right into Lucky's face, he will turn his face and look right at you. And he's fucking delighted. But I think that's the VR thing. I think it was so you could like look fucking Lucky in the eyes and be like, there you are, buddy. And like the animation is fine. It's got some good modeling on Lucky. The animation isn't as good as something like Toys for Bob do with like the Spyro remastered games or anything like that.
They do fucking insanity.
They do. He has costumes that you can unlock. They're really bad. Like I'm thinking about in Mario Odyssey, and I know that game deserves its criticisms. The costumes in Mario Odyssey are brilliant.
Yeah, they're very good.
They're very, very good. The costumes in Lucky are like the Indiana Jones costume, Hawaiian shirt, ponytail.
What?
Well, it's like a little samurai top knot thing. Oh, it's just shite.
Okay, Brian, where like on you're a 3D platformer connoisseur, I would say.
I am an aficionado.
Yeah.
Aficionado.
Aficionado.
Aficionado. There we go.
Where on like the 3D platformer tier list, not game wise, mascot wise. Niamh, you okay?
I just like ponytail as a costume. It's so shit.
Yeah, it is.
Where on the 3D platformer tier list does the character Super Lucky? Lucky? What's
Lucky.
Lucky. Where does Lucky fall?
Okay, Lucky is better than like Glover and Tonic from Tonic Trouble.
Okay.
He's nowhere near as good as like Crash or Spyro, obviously.
Not even as good as Crash or Spyro.
No, but he is. See,
What about Gex?
I can't talk about Gex in a serious way. Like to suggest Gex means Gex is already better than everyone.
Gex is rad. What are you talking about?
Gex is back, and this time he's full on fucking gay. Like this is just like I've seen like, and it's true. Like Gex fucks.
Oh yeah, for
What
sure.
about Croc or whatever his face is?
Croc is a crock of shit. Croc can
Okay.
fuck off.
So
Croc
Lucky's better than Croc.
Croc absolutely does not fuck. He has never tasted the purity of another.
No. Croc is a celibate weenie. I'm trying to think of something that's like mildly better than Lucky.
Sly Cooper?
You know, I think Sly Cooper's pretty cool. I think he's underrated.
Yeah, he's tall.
His posing is very good. I've
the
never played it.
animation of his tail.
I've never played a Sly Cooper game. I've seen footage of them, and I don't like. I've played one Ratchet and Clank game. I prefer Lucky to Ratchet and Clank, but that's just because I like Lucky's color palette more.
So,
Are you going to get the new Ratchet and Clank, Brian?
So you know the way PlayStation 5 games are like €80.
I know.
Me and another small boy called Walter, who listens to this podcast sometimes.
Hello, Walt.
Hello, Walt. We are doing school rules, which is, you know the way when you were a kid in school, you could only have like 1 or 2 games a year because they cost so much money. Mm-hmm. So you'd buy certain games, and then your schoolyard chum would buy the other games, and you'd trade.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Smart.
So I'm buying Resident Evil 8. He's buying Ratchet and Clank, and the plan is to trade over the summer.
That's what you have to do. I keep thinking about people who bought the digital PlayStation 5 and the cost of digital games. Like, Returnal is probably, apart from Resident Evil 8, that's kind of the next big game. That is like €90 on the store.
Yep. It's ridiculous.
Okay. No video game has ever been worth €100.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just games are so expensive. And then like Smith's is like I think
Smith's Toys, which is our
Smith's
kind of
Toys,
go-to place for games.
For Irish people will know, they're selling Resident Evil 8 Village, the disc version, for 60, but it's like
70 digital.
70 digital. I don't know how
fucking
Smiths can
horseshit.
do that at this stage.
Do you know what? I actually pre-ordered it for 70 off Smith's, and then they had a price promise, but I don't trust the price promise, so I canceled my pre-order and reordered my pre-order at the lower price point.
Do you ever price promise a dude and they're annoyed? Because when I bought my Surface Pro, I found like a good price for it, and I went to the shop and I was like, "Can you match this?" And he was like, "Well, we're supposed to."
Dude, don't be so anti-fucking consumer. Like, we'll go with your competition then, buddy. If it's something in your like sales pitch, you got to stick with it.
So Ryan, to bring things back,
Yes.
so Lucky sounds like he kind of ranks lower mid tier.
Yeah, like I think if I saw some decent fan art of Lucky, I'd be like, "That's lovely, very good." But like, I'm not going to think about him.
More like Super Fucky's tail.
Whoa.
Been holding on to that one for a little bit. Guys, I beat Monster Hunter Rise.
You beat it?
Credits rolled on Monster Hunter Rise. I killed the monster that's on the front of the box. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know. I'd be kind of curious to hear people's experiences in the comments. I fucking wrecked every monster in this game. And before, when I was making my way through low rank on Monster Hunter, like, you know, it wasn't like, didn't take quite the preparation to high rank, but like, those monsters, like, Anjanat fucked me up in World. You know, he really, really messed me up, and that took a little doing before I got him. But in this, and maybe it's just because I've played so much more Monster Hunter now, but a monster never killed me. Like, I got knocked unconscious and taken back to camp, but like, I never game overed on a monster. And I'm curious, like, am I just better, or is this an easier game? And I get the feeling it's an easier game.
It's for a children's console.
Yeah, but this is not a children's game. Like,
it's for big children.
It's for big children. It's like I was saying last week. I still do not think these games are accessible. And like, I saw some people saying like, but they're way more accessible than they used to be. Very true. But the idea that more accessible Monster Hunter is accessible, no. Just put your friends who have never played Monster Hunter in front of that game and see what happens. It's cool. I think I'm kind of good for the moment. I might go back to it at some point, like if I have a long flight or something, because it is really fun. But it's like, it is Monster Hunter, and I think once you get past like the kind of traversal, like when you get back down to the core monster fighting, they have done some really interesting stuff. But you know, it's that game, and maybe that's always going to be the way. And like, it doesn't need to be a bad thing. But I think for me, it's like, I'm kind of ready just to move on. Unless people are going to say that there's some really amazing stuff in the end game. I know Foxcade was talking about the last boss of it is like genuinely one of the coolest fights ever in Monster Hunter. But yeah, it's a good game.
Did I hear something about it where the last kind of boss or like narrative boss is going to be DLC and that's not even out yet kind of thing? Or did you feel it wrapped up narratively?
I mean, it wrapped up narratively in that there was a monster on the front of the box and people were like, oh, this monster's causing all kinds of trouble. And I was like, cool, I'll kill it. And then I killed it.
Huh.
There is going to be like DLC, all right. But I mean, I don't know if it's like paid DLC or what. But like, I remember in Worlds, like they kept rolling out new monsters really late. And like I think they were free. I can't remember because it took me so long to get to them. But I know Foxcade was talking about there being a very satisfying ending to that game. And I don't know what it is. I'm sure I will get there. Let's give it another... What do you guys think? Like year and 3/4?
Probably.
Yeah.
How long? Like, I'm surprised that you've beaten it so fast. How long did it take you to get there?
I would say 20 or 30 hours.
Okay.
And like I was going hard at it. Like, I really chewed through that game. But, like, you know, I killed the last boss and credits rolled. And, you know, I went back in and now there's a bunch of new monsters for me to kill that I can go back and do. But I think there's just other stuff I want to play right now. Bryan.
Yes.
You beat Persona 5 Strikers.
I did, yeah. It was very good. I think my playtime was 40 hours, maybe closer to 50.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, it's about half the game length of Persona 5. And I wasn't planning to pick this up so soon because I was a bit burnt out from Musou games because I'd played 2 big Musou games last year.
You've played a lot of Musou games.
Yes. I have. But the thing is, all in all, this is not a Musou game. It uses the Musou engine, but very rarely did I have to take on 100+ enemies and sweep them. Most of the time, you are real-time fighting enemies, but when you use your persona, the game pauses and you select an elemental attack. And it is just a active version of an RPG, I guess. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I love the road trip aspect. I liked the hopping all over Japan. It was cool going to Osaka, and you get to go across Dotonbori Bridge. And I like going to Hokkaido and Sapporo. Very good. The gang is great. There's 2 new characters that are kind of part of the core gang.
Who's the second one? Sorry.
You should have met them at the beginning of the game.
I know who it is.
Yeah. Is it a boy? Is it a guy with glasses?
It's an adult man.
An adult man.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I've complained about this because my girlfriend's finished this as well, but
Yeah.
like I didn't like that he became a phantom thief because I thought the whole point of the phantom thieves was like
They're teenagers taking
taking on
initiative.
adults, who have kind of failed them, and it's just like we're going to stop the corrupt adults, and then it's like this adult guy is just like, yeah, we're going to stop those adults, right, kids?
Yeah.
Let's get him, fellow teenagers.
Yeah.
And he's a daughter who should have just been a little older, and the other phantom thief.
Because she's a huge Phantom Thief fan.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit where you go to her house and they walk into her bedroom and she has all this like fan merch
I know.
of
I
Phantom
feel so
Thief
bad.
stuff, and it's really fun. And she's got all like the lanyards on a corkboard. It's really good.
It's like
pretty
your
cool.
dad joining your favorite band.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Now, the thing is, I really like that character in that, like in Parks and Rec, he's the Jerry where he's the punching bag. All they do is rag on him because he's a cop, and they never make him fucking forget about it.
So I said I've been rewatching Parks and Rec. I think I'm getting like old because the Jerry stuff now comes across really mean-spirited to me in a way that I found really funny before, but I kind of don't now.
It goes on too long.
Yeah.
It does. And like I'm on like season 6 now, and Ben had an episode where he was like, Jerry's my friend.
Oh, I really like that. I really
That
like.
was nice.
I really like that Ben and Jerry. Oh yeah, I like the ice cream. Become like close friends because like they are both kind of like the sensitive ones.
I
and
do like
kind of like they're you know how they're more like submissive than the other male characters.
Yeah. Ben, I really love Ben. I think he's great.
He's very good. He's a very good straight man in a comedy show,
Totally.
like done right.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the cop character in Persona 5. I just called him Cop Dad. Zenkichi.
Something like that.
You do get to control him later on, play him as a character. He's played as a slow heavy. I do actually like the way his character plays in the game.
Slow heavies and like I know it's not Muso like, but I like slow heavies and Musos. It's satisfying.
He is a lot of fun to play as, and he's broken as fuck, but in a good way.
And his costume is cool.
His costume is very cool. But it's kind of weird that he joins, but at least they just never let him forget what he is.
And he goes home at night. He doesn't stay with them in the van.
No, like he is an
I appreciate.
outsider looking
Yeah.
in, and so like he'll never really be a Phantom Thief. It's just he's like a weird.
He feels like a weird self-insert in ways.
he
I'm
does.
just like, okay.
There's something incredibly sad about that.
Because then the other character is Hatsune Miku meets Charming Drossel, where she's just an AI but like in a slick white uniform, and she's fine. She fights with a yo-yo.
I liked her from what I played.
Yeah, no,
Like
she's
I
good.
thought I was gonna hate her, and then I was like, oh, she's alright.
Like the game is super fun to play as, and I did a lot of the side quests. I nearly got close to like getting all the trophies, but I'd gotten to the point where I was content enough that I was finished, and so I beat the main game.
Cool.
And I was not expecting that to be like a continuation of the main story. I thought it was going to be like a full-on spin-off like Dancing All Night. I think one of the Dancing All Nights is canon, but the rest of them are like dreams. I think Persona 4 is canon, but I think the other Dancing All Night franchise games are non-canon. And they bring back some of the old characters. There's one bit where they have Makoto's older sister, because she was a investigator in the original game. And there's a bit where she shows up to help them. But the way they do it is they don't have her 3D model in the game for some reason, even though this game uses like all the reuse for some reason. But for some reason they didn't reuse her 3D model. So you see her in first person perspective, but then they have her portrait art in 2D talking, but not her 3D model. And I found that really strange. And then there's a bit where she rings you later on because she's Makoto's older sister, so she's kind of like she sort of helps the Phantom Thieves without helping them too much, but she will kind of get them out of a situation, and so she's acknowledged in the game, but just not fully acknowledged. Whereas like your fake uncle is in the game like from the beginning, and he's great.
I love Coffee Uncle.
Coffee Uncle is so good, and he's so sweet and nice, and. Yeah, no, like I really like the gang.
Yeah, they're a fun crew.
They're a great crew. I don't really like Futaba. She talks too much.
I liked her in Persona 5.
Harsh.
She just says stuff where I'm like,
Shut up, Futaba.
yeah, shut up, Futaba.
Shut the fuck up, Futaba.
It's nice that Haru can have more time
Yes,
as a character.
she gets something.
Yeah.
Haru's so cool. she's so rich as well. And like,
Ah, okay, because for so long I've been like, why does Bryan like it? And
look,
there it is.
my AU is, I live with Haru. She takes care of everything. I just smile.
Bryan is Haru's sugar baby.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh man, I am regressing. I'm not growing up at all. Got mama taking care of me.
Okay, before this gets too weird, would you ever play
It's already
Persona
got too weird.
Q2, like the 3DS game? Is that what it's called?
Persona Q Labyrinth.
Yeah, something like that.
I've played the first one. They're Etrian Odyssey spin-offs, and I don't like them. And like the problem is, they're map games, and I love maps. And you go into a dungeon, and you have to build the map using the touchscreen. Like it's such a interesting concept, but I just don't have the patience for dungeon crawlers.
Yeah, and they're such hardcore dungeon. Like when you think dungeon crawler, you think like, a bit of story, a bit of character. Nope, you are crawling through a dungeon. Like I think it was Etrian Odyssey 4, the art style in it's so beautiful, and I'm just not there.
Yeah.
Like I think it's doing cool things, but I don't got the willpower.
And from my experience with those games, the maps are always the same layout in that it's a checkerboard grid, and you're just right angling the map the entire time with just little lines at perpendicular lengths to each other, and those are the maps. I don't think there's any like funny shaped maps. Yeah, I wish I liked them.
Me too.
Because you know how we were talking about the secondhand shop and Entertainment Exchange,
Yeah.
who has all the Xbox hard drives. There's one of those in Cork, and they have like 10 copies of Persona Q Labyrinth 2,
Huh, really?
just all in a row because that's where they went.
Every time I'm in Cork City, I nearly go to that shop, and then I'll be like, Brian's gonna have cleared it out if there's anything good.
There was that time they had that Wii fighting stick for Tatsunoko versus Capcom. Or Marvel versus Tatsunoko, or no,
Capcom versus Tatsunoko.
Capcom versus Tatsunoko.
Such a fucking underrated game. Amazing.
They had the Steelbook for Final Fantasy X re-release on PS4 that I couldn't get anywhere else, and I found it there.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know it was
It's a
great.
really strange secondhand shop.
But then the girl behind the counter asked if I was going to get Dissidia and said that she loved Sephi-chan, and I haven't heard anyone refer to Sephiroth as Sephi-chan since, 2007, and I was like, whoa!
As a big fan of Sephiroth, I have never heard anyone call him that, and I never
Really?
care to hear it again.
Oh, God.
It must have really felt weird to hear that like verbally in real life.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, oh, God, no, girl, we're not having that conversation.
When people are like, so who's your favorite Dissidia character? That's when I know I'm talking to like a different species of Final Fantasy fan.
Someone real fucked up.
Oh, we say such awful things on this podcast. Okay, real quick. I played more Disco Elysium. That game is still very slow. The more I play of it, the more I think, Niamh, I really think last time I was like 50-50 on whether you'd like it. And I'm not saying take my word on this. I think just come to your own conclusion. The more I play it, the more I think Niamh might hate this.
Really?
Maybe.
So Niamh's
many
Niamh's not a
people love this
fan, and
game.
I'm definitely not a fan.
Like Bryan, you have never escaped like the 5 percentile of liking it. I don't think you would like this at all.
Brilliant.
Why do you think I'd hate it?
There's so much. It's all dialogue. And it's all.
I've read books, John.
I know. I'm not saying that. And, like you, you read more than me. It's a kind of introspective, very like navel gazy sort of dialogue that I don't think you get anything out of.
Oh man, I'm super curious now because when someone tells me I might hate something, I'm like, oh, okay.
She's like rubbing her
I love
hand.
hating.
Like
things.
I think it is really interesting, but like
it's on my list. I will play it.
I'll be
Before
super
that year
curious
is
to know
out.
what you think. Like I do like it. Like it is cool, and like its mechanics are really fascinating because it's like you inject experience points into the voices in your head that you want to become stronger, to suggest things to you and give you new options. And then like sometimes really interesting things happen. Like say maybe you inject a load of points into your authority, and so you become a very authoritative and you're good at making people what you want to do. But maybe you also inject a load of points into your empathy, and so you start becoming very empathetic. Those voices will start arguing with each other about which you should do. And that stuff's really interesting.
So they use a load of tulpas.
Hell yeah.
I mean, no. Like, I know what you're getting at, but it's like, it's all just framed as your psychology, And
Has he got like an angel and a devil on his shoulders, but there's like 8 of them?
there's 20 of them.
Oh my god, that's too many.
Yeah, there's a lot. And like the whole idea is you're just this disaster of a fucking character. Like you just suck. Like you're just a shit, drunken, stupid cop and you can't remember anything. And it's not even a case of like trying not to fuck up. To me, it's more a game of about like just watching this character fuck up and just slide and slide and slide. And I like that aspect of it. It's just sometimes I have 45 minutes and I sit down and I'm like, okay, come on.
I don't think this is a 45-minute game.
It's not.
This is
It's
like
not at
4
all.
hours.
Yeah. This is,
Yeah.
I am sitting down with a glass of wine and a novel.
Yeah.
And I do like it. Like, even listening to myself talk about it, I think I'm less undecided on it than I think I thought I was. It's just an investment. And yeah, you should play it, Niamh. Like,
I will. It's like, I know that
but
feeling.
this isn't coming from me saying, hey, Niamh, I think you'll like this.
Yeah.
This is me coming saying, it's interesting.
I might find it interesting. Yeah. Like, I there is some games that I think you need to carve out like 3 to 4 hours in a session to make that game work for you. I thought kind of Nier Automata was the same. I don't think you can do that in short bursts. I think it's way more affecting when you can do that in longer bursts. But like, I don't know, it's hard to find that time.
It is, and like right now I'm like in a pretty heavy crunch period, and it's been really difficult to like find the time to play this, but I really want to keep playing it because I don't want to drop it, like because I'm like, no, it is interesting, and like there's a chance it could still really come out and be like a big fucking deal for me, but we'll see. Also started playing Mother 3 again.
Brilliant.
And
are you playing the new translation?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
15 years.
15 years. Fucking crazy. But
New translation?
Yeah, for the 15-year anniversary, the translation group that did the original fan patch in like 2009, 2010, like did another update to it and just like tied it up a little bit.
So there's no official
No.
translation?
They
Really?
can't.
No.
They can't because there's a race of characters in that game that are part of Japanese culture, but
they're
just don't
basically
work.
like this genderless fairy race.
Called Magypsies, but they're
Yeah.
kind of like Okama.
Yeah,
They're kinda like drag queens.
Like they're drag queens, and like they're a force of good in the game.
They're lovely people.
But there's also this one scene that is meant to be like this double entendre of you and one of them in like in this hot spring, and it's just fucking weird and shit.
And so because of that, they won't localize the game in the West. So Nintendo are kind of cool
Is that
with
the
it.
reason?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know for sure, but
That
No,
kind of
we're
blows
not.
my mind because, like, I know nothing about Mother. I've never played any of them, but I know people who are super big fans, you guys included. And I've never, ever... I never thought for a second that you guys were all playing fan translations.
well, Earthbound is not
Yeah.
a fan translation. That's
But
an official.
Mother 3.
Mother 3 is a
Okay.
fan translation.
And for ages, the first Earthbound, which is called Mother 1 or Earthbound Beginnings, only came out on the Wii U Virtual Console a few years ago in English for the first time. But for ages, Earthbound was the only English game and only in America. It finally got its European release on the Wii U as well in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
So like for years and years, the only way to play these games was through piracy and fan translation.
That's crazy. That feels like Nintendo leaving money on the table because people are so passionate about
There's
this
also
series.
a rumor that like the game kind of heavily borrows a lot of Western music, and I think it has like not samples of the Beatles, but it has Beatle-like songs. But if that was the case, Earthbound wouldn't come out. It's really, I don't know why they never. But it is interesting because like Mother 3, I would say
Such a lovely
is undoubtedly the game with the biggest Western fandom that has never been released in the West.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Just the fact that Lucas is in Smash and everything,
Yeah.
like
This
he
is bananas to me.
like he still exists. He's not forgotten about.
Yeah.
He has an amiibo that you can buy in a GameStop here.
Yeah. I played through Earthbound late last year, and honestly didn't really hold up to me in the way I was hoping it would. And put Mother 3 in and was kind of like really in two minds about what my reaction would be. And holy fucking shit, it's just an incredible game. And I could talk about it for a long time. I'm going to try not to. But even the first 2 hours of that game, it all takes place in this village, right? There's 56 people who live in that village. Every single one of them has an individual sprite. And when I say individual sprite, it's not a sprite from a template. They all have their own shape. They all have their own talking animations. They all have not like 4 directional sprites, but they have like diagonal sprites as well. And there's so much visual storytelling in this game constantly. Like, big moment in Mother 3 is there's a tragedy that happens really early on. And you're just looking at these like little pixel characters, and your dad punches his fist down into a fire and then starts attacking other members of the village. But it's so fucking raw and real and just angry and hurt, and it's just impossible for that moment not to knock the shit out of you. And it's like, going back to Earthbound, I think Earthbound was incredible for its time. I think the biggest detriment to Earthbound is Mother 3. It's the fact that Mother 3 exists, because Mother 3 is an insane production. Like, I am blown away by how fucking good it is. Like, it's just every moment I was playing it, like there's a moment where a dog has to run back to a house and just get a guy from his bed. They animate this whole little pixel cutscene with like from a different perspective where the dog does it and he drags the guy out of the bed, he runs through the forest and it's raining, and it's just constantly that. And like, from my memory, it never lets up the entire game. And like, the story of it is so fucking beautiful and sad, and it's like, it's kind of just a story about how bad shit happens. And there's nothing you can do about it, because the stuff that really fucks up your life, the stuff that's going to change everything, is stuff that you will never see coming. It's not the stuff you worry about every day. It's not the stuff that is like, always like haunting you. It's just the shit that comes out of nowhere and all of a sudden everything's different. But it's still about how like you'll be okay at the end of it all. And I think that's fucking incredible. And I'm really, really having a blast with it. And it's like, yes, this is my number 2 favorite game ever. And that feels amazing.
Did you need to replay it to just confirm that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, because it's been like, 10 plus years since you last played it?
Yep, easily.
Yeah.
I think the last time, I remember, Brian, like you were staying in my parents' house for some reason.
Yeah, I think that was our 2009 or 2010.
And we played through like, I think I was like 2 hours away from the ending.
Yeah, you were
playing that, and I think I turned to you.
You
and
were
I
in
was
like Porky Towers or something like that.
Yeah, I think at that point I was like, Brian, I think this game's like amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the pacing of it. I love that the game's divided into chapters and it hops between different protagonists, and they kind of all unite at the end. But like, some chapters are like 3 or 4 hours long, some are 10 hours long. One is only like 10 minutes long, because it hurts so much.
Yeah, I know the one.
It's just such an unusual game that uses the medium in a really interesting way.
Yeah, and like, there's even all this little stuff, like you do your name entry at the start of the game.
Oh, that bit's so sad.
And up at the top left of the screen, it's like, Lucas comes along and you name Lucas. But then Klaus comes along, Lucas's brother. But Klaus comes into that little window and starts standing behind Lucas, and they start talking to each other. And then like your dad comes in and your mom comes in. But as they come in, these little animations and interactions start playing out between them. Like, Klaus runs off screen and then Lucas tries to chase him and Lucas falls down and then gets back up, and then like, his mom comforts him or whatever. And it's like, by the end of you just entering your name in the character select, they have completely described to you the dynamic of this family. And it's just shit like that makes me feel like this game is it's just on a level above. In like the story is great, but I think its real strength is how fucking good it tells it. And
with just these little sprites.
exactly. And like
I really like the way in the character introduction when they bring in the mom, she doesn't want to come in, but the sons have to pull her by her arms.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm shy. And like,
Such a mom thing.
yeah, it's such a like, and it really looks like they're trying to do like an impromptu family photo, but the mom was busy. But like, and like the dad is so stoic.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, yeah, let's do this.
And like that's the scary thing then, like when you do see him break down.
Oh dear.
Oh my god. But I remember like this is one of the few games that I think made me like really bawl at the end, and I am looking forward to this game destroying me. Like it's so funny and weird as well. It's great.
Before you move on from this, can I ask a completely ignorant mother question? So you've mentioned Earthbound, which is Mother 1.
Mother 2.
So this Mother 1,
That's my
Mother
question.
2,
What's Mother
which-
2?
and
which
Mother
is
2
on the
is
NE
Earthbound.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So the first Mother 1 came out on the NES, I think in 1990.
Okay.
Mother 2, which is called Earthbound in America, came out on the SNES in 1994 or 95.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the life cycle of the SNES. And then Mother 3 was meant to come out on the N64, got cancelled, built from the ground up on the Game Boy Advance. It came out in 2006 after the DS had come out, so it was one of the last games for the Game Boy Advance. And so it looks really, really good, and you know, I really
It's
like
beautiful, and like it has like, you know, it has color palettes, it has real, just all the buildings have this like gorgeous soft design, but then like, you know, the kind of like introduction of like capitalism is a big part of the game, and all those buildings are really like angular and horrid, and it's
because it's one island that's peaceful and doesn't have
they don't even have money.
there's no concept of money or ownership, and you know, arguing over land. And then the island beside them, where I guess Earthbound Mother 2 takes place.
Niamh, what was your actual question? Sorry.
I just wanted to know, 'cause I thought Earthbound was the first one and then Mother 3, so I was just like, what's the deal with Mother 2? But that's Earthbound. So then my question is, no one talks about Mother 1?
From my understanding, I've never played it, and I think I'm actually gonna pretty soon, but Mother 1's very difficult and does not have a lot of game design.
Okay.
It looks like a practice version of Earthbound because it takes place in the suburbs, just like Earthbound does, but like with half the colors.
Are they always the same characters, or is it different characters?
Different
each game?
characters.
Yeah, the
Okay,
first one
so it's
has
kind of
the first one has
anthology.
a boy with a baseball cap called Ninten. Second one has a boy with a baseball cap called called Ness. Then the third one has a boy with a blonde hair, kind of coiffed, called Lucas.
I think the last boss of the first and second game are the same, and then the second last boss of Earthbound Mother 2 is the last boss of Mother 3.
Yeah.
I think it's been a while.
Yeah, because the bad guys in the first two games are time traveling aliens.
Okay.
But then the bad guys in the third game are capitalists.
Yeah,
Alright.
they do Nazi salutes and everything. It's fucked up.
They're fucked up.
He Itoy saw it coming, man. He knew.
His book is coming out in a few days.
Is it an autobiography, or?
He owns Hobonichi, which makes the Hobonichi planners, but they
Which are the
publish...
best damn planners. I have 3 of them, and they're all Earthbound themed, and they're all fantastic. They're where I write my feelings at night.
Shigesato Itoi. He was also the voice actor for the dad in My Neighbor Totoro for some reason. He has a book called Ask Iwata that is getting published in English. It came out in Japan like a year or two ago, and it's a book about Satoru Iwata interviewing game developers about game developing.
Here it's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's getting its English translation in May, and I can't wait to get it.
Great.
One last game, and it's just DLC.
From this point on, we're never talking about another game ever again. So if you listen to this podcast for video games, soak this up real good. It's the last fucking time.
And that last game is Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
I replayed through Resident Evil 7 because I want to play Resident Evil 8, and this is the only way I can scratch that itch right now. It's part of the PS Plus collection on the PS5, so it was there ready to go. Played through it, had a lot of fun. That game is fun, but it's trash. It is... That game is 90 Day Fiancé if it was a video game, where like you're watching it and you're like, this is so bad, I can't, and it sucks you in, but then you just feel real empty after you watch too much of it, and you kind of bitter.
Niamh, What was your take on the choice in that game between the two girls?
I thought
Mia
it
and
was
Zoe.
stupid and pointless, and
It's
it
so
shouldn't have been
fucking
in it.
stupid.
Like
I
you
couldn't remember if you had a rationale for it or not.
No, I think
okay.
it's bad. I
it's
picked
so
Zoe
bad.
the second time I played it just to see, and like then they just kill her.
Yeah, she
anyway.
gets molted
she just
right
gets
away.
Molted, so
She gets
it's kind
molted
of
on
like,
the boat, and then you right away take over as Mia.
Yeah.
Even though Mia has no motivation to go after Ethan.
Yeah,
Because
after
you
that.
just shafted her on the docks.
I know, it makes no sense. I don't know why it's
I liked
there.
the parts of that game that felt like a hardcore wrestling match.
Okay,
The first half.
now
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to the DLC. So there's the game didn't cost me anything because it did cost me something because I'm on part of PS Plus. I didn't have to buy this game again to play it.
Mm-hmm.
It was ready to go. I just added it to my folder.
What was it on? Was it last generation? Wait,
It's PS4.
Yeah, it was PS4.
Okay,
It came out in January 2017. So this game is 4 years and 3 months old. 4 months
so
old.
did you not just already have it?
No, because Niamh lent it to me on disc.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And I was enjoying myself, so I bought the DLC because it was on sale. I bought the entire DLC because it was €12. The majority of that DLC is really bad. So what you get are...
You've played it, Niamh.
I've played some of it.
Yeah. So what you get are 2 big campaigns, which I'll get to last. You get 4 VHS tapes, which are the band footage. They take about half an hour to an hour to complete. They are reuse to fuck. I think the only new stuff in it is some new motion capture on pre-existing characters and voice acting for those characters, which are the Baker family. And you play as one of the cameramen from that documentary tape that you find. And it's one of them in a scenario with the dad, the mom, and the son, Lucas, who, by the way, looks like Tony Hawk if things didn't work out. Like he looks like a fucked up Tony Hawk. And then the last one is called Daughters, where you play as Zoe, and that one is interesting in that there's a great bit towards the end of the main game where you're in a hive mind memory fog as Ethan. Also, I have no opinion on Ethan. He is an unremarkable person. That's
The
it.
fan favorite is back.
Yeah. No, the unflavored ice cream is back. There's a great bit where as Ethan, you start talking to the dad. What's the dad called again? Joe? No, the uncle's called Joe. Keith?
Oh god.
Kevin?
Why has it slipped my mind?
Pa? I just call him Pa.
It's Pa.
Okay, Pa's talking to you, but he's talking to you as like a human, like without like having some sort of like zombie parasite host controlling him and making him all
Right.
like creepy and aggressive. And you actually hear him talking to you as like a loving, gentle father. And he's sitting beside Zoe at the time, and he's like, me and Zoe are in a better place. The whole family's in a better place. You need to take out Evelyn for us and just, make things right. And one of the...
Who's Evelyn?
Evelyn is the old lady in the wheelchair
Oh,
that turns
right,
out to
yeah,
be
yeah.
the
little girl.
creepy little girl, because that's her true form. And then at the end, she's just a giant face tentacle monster thing, because it's Resident Evil. All right, anyway.
Jack is his name.
Jack. Yes, Jack. Okay. Papa Jack. So there's a flashback tape where you play as Zoe, and it's the night of when the tanker boat crashes up on the bayou, and they bring in the little girl Evelyn, and the dad has her in his arms, and he's like, "This poor girl is going to die. We need to get her out of these clothes. We need to get her warm and safe." And it's just about how the family got taken over by the host.
That's kind of cool.
And yeah, like it's pretty good. It's probably the most interesting of the 4. Then there's 2 score attack games, which are fine. Like the actual gameplay in those games is solid. As far as first person shooters go, it serves its purpose. It's Capcom taking on a genre they don't normally do, and they do a decent job of it. But they're just score attack zombie wave games, more or less. Then you get 2 campaigns. One was free, and that was the Chris Redfield one.
Yeah.
Where you play as Chris Redfield going after Lucas, because Lucas gets away. Because you do Lucas's weird Saw...
Lucas is evil Tony Hawk.
Yeah, evil
Yeah.
Tony Hawk. Because you do his weird Saw scenario, and then when you get to the room, it's just a spinning chair. And they're like, damn, he got away.
That made me so mad.
Yeah, and so it's free DLC, but you play as Chris Redfield, and you are Chris Redfield as fuck in that you have like an entire weapons chest ready to go, and you can punch and take out zombies with melee when you've staggered them enough with bullets. And that's fairly fun to play. It's got a bit of reuse in that you go into the mines, but then it kind of uses some new locations, and it was satisfying to defeat Lucas at the end. So that was a fun hour and a half. Then you get the other one, which is called The End of Zoe, and this is what actually happens to Zoe in that Ethan and Mia get on the boat and they leave Zoe behind. Zoe gets molted, but she doesn't quite die, and it's Uncle Joe, which is Jack's brother who looks kind of like Jack but has a beard, and you play as him and you try to cure Zoe. And this is a thing they do sometimes in Resident Evil games where you have a female character and they want to depict her as like taken over by the parasitic virus or whatever, but they still have to like sexualize her. So
That's very important.
So she looks like a crystallized naked woman where like the like virus scabbing is tastefully done over her naked body, because
A virus bra to bring things back.
yeah,
right.
virus bra and virus virus lingerie.
Hell yeah.
Like, you know how there's that one boss in Resident Evil 6 early on
Yep.
in the Leon campaign where you have to fight your one sister, Heather, I think that's her name, and she's just the character from Species, you know, like sexy, like
She's
like
just
virus
naked with like arms out of her back,
With,
and
like,
she's
big
just
boobs.
gyrating
Yeah.
in front of you.
There's one character from one of the, I think the Resident Evil Chronicles game. She's like this just. She just looks like a sex toy. She's like in a wetsuit and a sex toy. Like that's what she
That's
looks
the
like.
Revelations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when she gets zombified, like her head gets all fucked up, and her like she has like weird arms and tendrils and stuff. Those boobs though, perfectly preserved.
Yeah, no, like someone in Capcom was they had a very important meeting about this.
Yeah.
So Zoe, so they make sure to tastefully take care of Zoe in her zombified cocoon state.
When you say tastefully,
I mean not tastefully. I mean like you know,
like someone was being careful. We'll say that much.
like you know when someone tries to like describe the male gaze in like the simplest form, like this is just that. Someone was horny. So you play as Uncle, and what the way this game is done is it's like a redneck Dishonored, in that he doesn't use weapons.
Sold.
You use the left and right control triggers to punch with your left and right fist.
Yeah, that's the best.
And you go around the swamps, and the two main enemies are the molted, in which you can stealth kill if you sneak up behind them, and he just twists their neck and goes, "Attaboy."
I'm not sure that's how the molten work, but okay.
And then he also can throw spears at mutant alligators. And it's fucking brilliant.
Oh,
It
This is the one I haven't played, but I think I need to play.
Niamh, you need to play. Niamh, this is a real special time. And so, like, he doesn't use any guns or anything. He just punches zombies.
What the fuck is Uncle Joe? What the hell?
And, like, he comes in and you see him, and it's just like a fucked up hillbilly Santa Claus. Okay, and so, like, guess what he consumes to get his health back? Critters. So that is worms, crawfish, centipedes.
Brian, we know what critters are.
And like he rips them out of tree bark and goes, "There you go," and he eats one of them.
What the hell?
And you have like a regenerating enemy that's kind of scripted into certain sequences that you kind of have to evade, or you have to like take down, but you can't actually kill. It's Swamp Thing. And it's just it's a full-on Swamp Thing. Like you look at it and there's several scenarios in which you get into bare knuckle boxing fights with
This sounds fucking awesome.
with the Swamp Thing. But towards the end of the game he starts coming across like umbrella tech, but but like an electric boxing glove.
Okay.
That charges up. Like it's on the front cover of the game and he's like, "This is gonna do some good. It's gonna do some damage."
Wow.
And then, like it's just about a really nice uncle who's just trying to take care of his niece. That's the game.
So Brian, you were saying like in the other DLCs, like there's a lot of like reuse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This sounds like there's a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, there is. No, there is a bit where you go back to the Baker house, and I was like, oh no. But it's been like ET'd in that, you know that bit in ET where like the G-men come in and they put out their like plastic tunnels everywhere.
The scariest part of ET.
Yeah, and they have like shrink wrap over everything. So it's cool to go back to a location, but like it's like a few weeks later and it's become like a military science testing facility.
That's pretty cool.
And so that stuff is really good. But yeah, no, it's a really, really fun 90-minute game, and that's probably the only like like, I didn't really think much of the DLC, but that bit was fucking brilliant. Left me with some predictions from Resi 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Lady D, who's more or less the big bad that they're selling. She has 3 daughters that are sort of inspired by Dracula's brides. Mm-hmm. They're her daughters. So I assume that there's going to be sequences in Resi 8 where you're trapped in, you know, a series of rooms or a sectioned off area of the castle or an exterior or a lesser castle where you have one of these characters kind of, and you play hide and seek with them. I assume that's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And Resident Evil, based on this gameplay, is they'll treat their female villains either in 2 ways. They're either big giant Tetsuo tentacle blobs with glowing orange orbs.
That's what I don't want, because...
Or they're the sexy version with the tits intact.
I'm hoping they find a middle ground.
I don't think they're gonna. I think it's gonna be the character from Species, where it's like, or yeah, like it's just gonna be like there she is, but she's got a few appendages on her.
Like I'm okay with them getting fucked up because that's what's going to happen. I just hope they do it in a more interesting way than the glowing orange weak points.
No, like because like they will have a phase 1 look, and that's what they are in the cutscenes. But there's going to be a phase 2, 3, 4, like where they're going to get bigger and badder.
Lady D, what if she just keeps getting bigger? That would be great. And I still hold to my prediction. If they really want that game to be fucked up, you're going to meet a giant baby at some point.
I think they might have you covered.
Oh, really? Wait, and hang on. You phrased that in a really specific way.
I think there is a baby type character in it.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah, who might give you trouble.
Like, she is very maternal in a way that she, like, forces her maternity upon you regardless of whether you're into it or not.
Did you guys see that Kotaku article where it was like why you don't want Lady D to step on you?
I've been watching that guy's channel.
It's like, shut the fuck up, Kotaku. You don't know what I want.
Did you watch the video?
No.
John,
I know what I am, Brian. I know.
John, that body just bursts.
Good.
Okay. Anyway,
sweet oblivion in the most perfect way possible. I don't give a shit.
I just think if you really want to play Resident Evil 8, but you still have like a week and a half to wait, play that End of Zoe DLC. It is fucking ridiculous.
I think I just might do that.
Yeah,
because it came out at the end of 2017, so it was like the last bit of DLC
I don't
they
think
released.
I've ever heard anyone talk about this.
Yeah, me neither.
It's so fucking funny.
Okay.
Like I was like, it is just Redneck Dishonored in that it's a first person stealth game, and the fists like his hands are out like cat's paws, and like he's kind of doing like he's kind of like scratching.
I really like it when you're playing a first person game and you have the fists equipped, and like you just see the fists in front of the camera, and the idea it's like the person's running around going. Brian, did you have a story you wanted to tell us?
Yes, but I'll tell it properly in the next episode. Let's just say the Joy-Con drift is a problem. I got fed up with it, and I'm solving the problem. I'm 95% there, and I'm going to tell it in the next episode. Nintendo are a very wealthy company. I think if your Joy-Cons aren't working, they will fix them for free. It's an open secret, regardless of warranty. Who knew?
Who knew? Quicktime Events. Okay, three pretty small news items, I guess. Sony decides to continue the digital store for PS3 and PS Vita. PSP will close on July 2nd as planned.
It's really cool to see gamer backlash that like wasn't shitty, but also the brand recognized it and didn't do the thing they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
That was nice.
I think they saw enough people being like, you should hack and pirate shit, and they were like, whoa.
Let's make it easily available and make money from it.
Mm-hmm. It is like the easiest way to legitimize piracy is just be like, well, you don't give us access to this.
Yeah, you're not giving us a...
Like you were saying about HBO
option.
Max, Brian, earlier. It's like, yeah, I'm going to pirate the shit out of anything that's not available in Ireland. Like, fuck off.
You're not giving me a legal option. I'm going to have to sail the high seas. Mm-hmm. Sorry, dude.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. Yo ho ho, motherfucker.
Yep. Yo ho ho, took a bite of gum.
Yep.
But it sucks that the PSP is closing. I just think maybe they should just leave it open for a tiny bit longer.
Yeah.
But also that thing is a hacker's paradise.
Yeah. It kind of makes the PSP Go like is totally worthless unless you hack it. So
yeah.
You You should do that.
Yeah, totally. The Mario Luigi this is a weird story.
I can't believe this. Did this happen to you, Brian? So
Oh yeah, he was calling out his brother's name.
Mario, the Mario piece you get in the Mario Lego gets an update and then starts calling out for his brother, which you obviously have to buy, which is a separate playset. So you have a toy in your house, presumably you're a child, or Brian, and you have this character that is like, Luigi? Like, calling, like...
Niamh, I'm sorry, could you just do a few more takes?
Luigi? I can't do... I'm a Mario. Where is my brother Luigi?
I don't think Mario has ever asked where is Luigi.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Because Mario is not worried about Luigi. Like, Luigi's worried about Mario.
I can't believe
I don't
they
think
would
Mario.
do this.
I don't think Mario even knows his brother's name.
This is some fucked like toy soldier shit where you're in
Small
bed.
soldiers.
Yeah, and your toy just starts talking to you, asking for something.
Luigi,
So,
only
like-
€60 in Smeets.
With this, like,
Bananas.
it is fucked up. It is really weird to advertise that directly to children. Like, I think it just enters so many like weird fucking. It crosses so many consumer lines. I think I can't help the fact there is some tiny part of my brain that just ignites with joy at this, and it's wrong. I think what they're doing is bad, but there is some part of me that just sees these fucking Mario toys being like, Luigi? Just, there's something about it that just makes me really happy.
But
and
that's what they're tapping into, John.
I know, and they shouldn't, and kids shouldn't have a toy that tries to sell them other toys. That's bad, but
It's some
the
real
toy
child's
has
play
feelings.
stuff. Yeah, but that's terrible. Can you imagine like a kid just like being upset about that, being like, "Oh my god,
Awful.
my toy
Fucking
doesn't,
awful.
my
Really
toy
bad.
wants this
And,
My
like,
thing."
toy is crying for another
Yeah.
product
What I-
available in August.
What I am not trying to do is justify this or defend them at all, but I have to be honest. There is some insane part of my brain that is just delighted at this weird sentient creature crawling out for its fake brother.
It's some weird guerrilla marketing.
It's just...
Yeah. But that has to cross some kind of advertisement line
Oh,
somewhere.
like moral, ethical, like their responsibility, like their it's deeply insidious. It's like you take everything about like, you know,
You
weird
shouldn't advertise
microtransactions
like
and
toys
like
during
DLCs
children's shows,
in
stuff like that.
children's games. You take all that stuff and you basically multiply it by 10. That's what this is. It's just weird and I like it, but not for children, and it shouldn't be in a children's toy.
I find it fascinating as well in that case, but like it's just like, can you opt out of it? Can you like he gets an update and he starts doing it?
Yeah,
Can
that's
you
that.
opt
Like
out of
you
the
should
update?
like.
They update the Mario toy every few months. The last update was at the beginning of the month.
Like the flip side of this is I picture having a kid, and I picture my kid coming up to me and being like, "Dad, Mario's calling out for his brother," and how fucking pissed I'd be about that.
Yeah.
But as a childless idiot, I'm kind of like,
My girlfriend was like, if I was a kid and my toy started crying for another toy, that would upset her so much. And I just think about really sensitive kids that are upset about it. And now this parent is just like, I have to fucking shell out more money for fucking Luigi.
For the Ouija.
It's also a great opportunity to teach your child that life isn't fair.
It's like, okay, kid, we need to watch Child's Play, and you have to understand that Mario's evil now, and we have
That's a
to
really
kill
good
him.
idea, actually. Punish your child by making them watch horror movies.
That's what my mom did, and I turned out fine.
Well,
Yep.
I was 12 years old, and
threw paint on my car. Time to watch Martyrs.
Exorcist came on TV, and I was, and
It's
she
a
was
good
like,
film.
she's like, you haven't seen Exorcist?
It's a
No,
very
I'm-
important movie. It's
I'm 12, Mom.
Yeah.
it's a real like for a young girl. It's a rite of passage. It's you
Brian,
really,
I could not sleep.
So when I probably told this story before, but when I went to a sleepover when I was little before, and another boy told me about The Shining, and it scared me so badly I had to go home from the sleepover, and I spent weeks being really scared just of what he had told me about The Shining, and my mom was eventually like, it's never going to be as bad as it is in your head, so we're just going to watch it. It was a really fucking bad idea.
it's a fucked
It
up
was
movie.
so much worse.
Mom, it's worse.
Anyway, I will probably be buying the Lego Luigi set
Well, you got
because
it, Brian. He's a little fella's lonely.
I just wanted because
Have you heard him say this?
no, and I want.
Oh, it's great.
I really want to record.
Bryan,
I
he
want to. No, I've seen footage. I just want to hear it in person.
But your one hasn't done it yet.
No, he just said, "I'm tired," which I was like, "Yeah, man, me too."
Mario sure is depressed lately.
Mario needs more wine.
Oh,
Don't we all, Mario?
Resident Evil Reverse delayed until summer.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, this was meant to come out with the release of Resident Evil 8, and it's going to be delayed. Most people won't care about this. I'm a little sad because I enjoy it. But that's about it.
Maybe you can just play the Resident Evil 3 game for a bit more.
Oh, no, I got my card on the stick. I got my gold outfit for my characters, and I don't need to play that anymore.
Emails. Bryan, I got some shit to say.
Yeah?
I'm fucking pissed about some of the things you guys said on this podcast.
Yeah.
What can I do with that information?
You could send it to
I'll stay in my house with your bride.
gmail.com.
Shit, that is my actual business email. Don't anyone email it. I'm not going to write back. I have an unsolicited... Do not submit music to me there. Do not ask me to watch your video there. Do not do all the things that are not anything else related.
Hey, John, I'm an American. I'm working on an anime. I was wondering what you thought of it.
Okay.
Do you want to read my light novel?
Can I be really, really unfair? Just a lot of people send me like videos that they have done to watch, and some of these videos are really, really long, like an hour and 10 minutes long. And so just if someone insists on doing that, I just want to picture walking up to someone in the street and just being like, hey, I'd like an hour and 10 minutes of your time. And I'm not trying to be shitty. I'm not trying to be mean. I think everyone should just go for it and make things and share them around as much as they want.
Well, you need the elevator pitch.
But it's like I get like on a bad day, I could get like 15 of these videos. I can't spend 15 hours watching videos from people I don't know. And then, you know what? People don't want feedback. They just don't, because I've taken the time in the past. I've taken the time and been like, oh, you know, you did this well, you maybe work on this, and they don't like it.
No, they want you to give them a shout out.
I know. And
it's a thinly veiled attempt at being, can I be part of your favorite things?
Yeah, I know. I know that's what it is, and it's so annoying.
And we've gotten a few of them to our main email as well, but like, you know, it is a thin, like, come on, lads.
If you are really good and this lifestyle is meant for you, you do not need me to succeed.
Do you know who gets good emails?
AskLet'sFightABoss@gmail.com.
We get the best damn emails ever. I'm really, really loving the quality of the emails. Thank you so much.
It's a party in that inbox, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, smiles all around. There's no weird people emails anymore. It's great.
Man, at some point, I'd love to cross like a, what would you call it? Statute of limitations, and we can talk about some of the really fucking weird stuff we've got into that inbox. But I don't want to do it now because...
No.
We have a special tag for that.
Yeah, we do. The tag is black with orange text.
Just says weird people.
Just like, I don't even know how to answer that question, and I think you just want whatever it is validated. No, thank you, sir.
Or ma'am, who knows?
Yeah. No, thank you, person. Okay. Let's read out a nice email. Niamh, do you have one to go?
Yes, I certainly do. This is from Kim C. Hi, Bryan, Niamh, and John. Love the podcast, binged the whole thing over the last couple of weeks, and I appreciate you making me laugh my ass off. It's been nice to hear thoughts on media from different artists and hear you talk to people about artist problems when you answer emails. Now I have a question for you. How do you deal with artist envy? I'm pretty sure most artists have struggled with jealousy at some point over seeing how other artists draw and wishing you could create like them at some point. I just feel like I often don't deal well with those feelings when I have them. On a good day, I'll just draw a lot and to feel like I'm catching up, but a lot of the time I end up feeling flustered or like I want to give up drawing, or like I want to curl up and die. I have issues with mental health, self-esteem, and getting help with that has helped indirectly, but I was wondering if you had any experience with dealing with this directly and any advice or ways that y'all personally deal with it when you come across it. Thanks for doing the podcast. It really has been a source of joy lately, and I hope you're all doing all right.
What was that person's name?
Kim C.
Kim C. Thanks so much, Kim C. That was a lovely email. What do you guys take on this?
I think it's completely normal to be jealous of others. I think when people put out their art online, it is a curated version of themselves, so you don't see the struggle or you don't see the bad days. They're presenting a good day of art, and that needs to be considered every time you are jealous of seeing something. The jealousy can also be a way of inspiring enthusiasm to your own. If you can put a positive twist on it that isn't somewhere out of spite, it's just out of, they're doing that, that's amazing, what can I do that is amazing or as amazing, or what can I do that would get me to a feeling where they're feeling good about themselves? What can I do to kind of mirror that?
I don't really feel jealousy all that often.
Because you're so fucking good, Niamh.
No, but just generally
She's
as an
very good at
emotion,
drawing.
I just don't really feel it that often. I remember feeling
You
it
don't
once.
look at Bryan at how comfortable and happy he is all the time and just be like, I wish I had that.
I do look at Brian's legs and wish I had those. They're very good, very soft.
I walked up a hill all my life. And now I get to sit down.
But I do feel like inadequacy rather than jealousy. Like, I'm a real collaborator. I love working with people, so I don't really feel jealousy or competition. I'm not that type of person.
Yeah, because people have strengths and weaknesses, and we all help each other out.
And I like totally know what mine are, and I totally know what other people's are. But I do feel inadequacy, especially with people posting beautiful art all the time. And I feel like, oh man, if only I worked harder, I could like get to that level. And for me, it was accepting what my strengths were and what they weren't, and finding other people to fulfill the gaps where I fell down, kind of thing. And that's why I like collaborative work. And I think for me, what changed my mindset is, I'm not going to name them, but I know an artist who is so inspiring to me. Like, I see their art every time, and I'm like, if I ever could pick someone I could draw like, it would be them. And this person hates their work. They're so down on their work all the time, to the point that they apologize for uploading. They delete things because they need to fix something so minor that no one else would ever notice. And it just like blew my mind that this person that I like is on a pedestal for me just sees their work like that. And I realized that I was doing that to myself as well, that I was kind of looking at my work with this complete like warped sense. And I try to look at my work then with the eyes of an outsider or someone who isn't me, or even a younger version of me, and to see where I have kind of grown to, and just kind of be kinder to myself in that kind of sense. Because if this person who I think is so amazing can feel so bad and let that affect them so much in their artistic journey, like that's happening to everyone. And to me, it was just changing my mindset and being kinder to myself, accepting my limitations, pushing the parts that I knew I could improve at, and just accepting that this was a normal part of art, that people feel this way, and that is something that you nearly need to deal with as an artist yourself, is overcoming that in your own way as well. Because like, it just blows my mind that they don't love their work in the same way that I would love their work. So treat yourself with some kindness and look at some older art, look some art that you did 5 years ago, and look at your art today, and you will see that improvement. And imagine your younger self who could not draw at all, and you're just like, damn, if only I could draw Dante as well as I want. And then draw Dante today and be like, damn, if I was 14 years old and I saw what I could do today, I'd be like, that is so cool, and I would print that out and stick that on my door. So like,
it's true.
You know?
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, to me, it's about being kinder to myself, because I think every single artist in the world deals with feelings of either jealousy or inadequacy. I think they're the flip side of the same coin.
Yeah, really well said.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Let me see. Okay, I got one here from Chris. Dear Super Eye Patch Wolf, Super Baseball Cap Frog,
Okay.
and Super Flannel Shirt Dog.
That's me.
Yeah.
What are some of your earliest and fondest gaming memories as a kid? Sincerely yours, the cow with the body of a spider.
Wow.
Also known as Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm trying to picture it, and it makes me very sad.
I wonder what color the spider is.
How happy do you think the spider, the cow spider, is
Absolutely
about
delighted.
Not happy. to
I'd be so
alive.
happy.
this?
Do you think its udders are on its top or its bottom?
Well, it's like a thorax, so it'd be like
Yeah.
sticking out like a
I
tail.
think random udders coming out of the thorax.
Okay.
Ooh,
And
like
they can all
really
shoot web and
asymmetric.
milk. It's kind of just sticky milk, really.
What are some?
What was the question?
What are
The cow spider.
what are some of your earliest and fondest gaming memories as a kid? I have a story, but I won't tell mine first because
It's too good.
It's too good.
it's real pathetic.
I think my fondest memories as a kid. I wasn't allowed to play games as a kid, so I had to sneak up and play them in my brother's room because he was allowed to play games, but I wasn't. But I had to sneak up and play them at nighttime. But when I was allowed to play games, it was with my brother, and my memory that I really enjoy is always beating him at Tekken, and he used to get really mad and he used to go and then punch me in the arm every time I
Wow.
would win. So not, yeah, it's a fond memory, but it was, yeah, that was the memory of that. I remember I really liked playing Guild Wars when I was a teenager and going into the main towns with my other friend and taking off our boots and getting into the cages in the town and then putting in the group chat like, help, we sold our boots, we don't know how to play, can people give us gold for boots? And then our guild leader caught us doing that and was just like, what are you doing?
Wow.
That was a fun moment. Playing Tekken, I think, with kids in the town was probably always going to be my funnest memory.
Early Tekken is like really...
Yeah.
Like, you did not see human bodies move like that in games before that, and it was fucking incredible. I think I have two. One was seeing Super Mario World in a Nutgrove kiosk for the first time and just not being able to comprehend what I was looking at because games didn't look like that. Like, when you look at the jump from Nintendo to Super Nintendo, it was like seeing a new color. Like, it was fucking crazy. And
Just one was going to age well, the other was not.
yeah, and just seeing like the
still holds
artistry
up.
of that game, and like it didn't look like a cartoon, it just looked like something I'd never seen before, and it was just magical. Like, it was really magical. The other was my uncle used to fix arcade machines, and I just have a memory of like Street Fighter 2 being in being like 5 and like Street Fighter 2 being in this corner and Final Fight being in this corner, and like he had the machines open, so at 20 pence coin you could like just go up and put the coin in and it would fall out, and that's how you got your credits, and it was like cheating. And then I also remember like coming home from the Gaeltacht, which was like a 3-week like Irish camp.
Very intensive.
Very intensive.
Speak Irish. If you speak English, you get kicked out and you don't get anything.
First time I went, bawled my eyes out the first night because I was so lonely for my parents because I was not used to being away from them. But I stuck out the 3 weeks, and my parents said if I did that, they'd get me a PlayStation 2, and they did. And I remember like going for Pizza Hut with them that night and getting the PlayStation 2 and going back and like my dad watching and showing him Tekken, and then my dad leaving and then being like, okay, and then putting in Dead or Alive 2 and being like, yeah.
It's the real game.
What about you, Bryan?
I got two. I got an early one and I got a fond one. I didn't get a games console until I was about maybe 8 or 9. I got the Super Nintendo. But I think at that point it was like the final version of the Super Nintendo because the N64 was just about to come out. Kids over the wall, they had an older brother, and older brothers always have games consoles with a huge selection of games. So when I was about 6 or 7, I'd go over to them and I'd watch him play Super Nintendo. And like I'd play with his younger brother who was my age, and I'd play with him for a bit, but then I'd go into his room and I'd just sit on the bed and just stare and watch him play Super Nintendo games. And he'd be like, do you want to play? And I'd be like, I'm not sure yet. It took about a year for me to play the game. And like I would just watch him play Super Mario World and fighting games. There was one where it was like a wrestling game, but he was like, check this out. And he made player 1 and player 2 the same character, and he was like, look, he's beating himself up. And I thought it was so funny. Pissed myself. Now, as a child, I had a very, very weak bladder. I had to go back to I had to go back home. My parents had to apologize. It was a whole thing.
Only time I ever pissed myself, 15 years old. Staying in my aunt's house, woke up one morning, never experienced it before, didn't know what to do.
Oh dear.
Yep.
Anyway, same older brother. One year, the family were going on holidays to Spain for 2 weeks, and he went, "Hey Brian," and he showed me a bag, and he had packed up the Super Nintendo.
Aww.
And he lent it to me for the 2 weeks, and I was so hyped to play it. I set it up myself on the TV. And you know the way back then when you plugged in a Super Nintendo, you had to do it over the analog and you had to tune it.
Yep.
Like, I figured all of that out on my own, and my mom was like, you know how to do that? And I'm like, yeah. And my dad was like, look, if Brian is determined enough, he will figure it out.
That's a general rule of thumb with Brian, I think.
But yeah, I don't like wires unless I really have to get to them, and then I will do my AV setup.
I love setting things up. It's my favorite part of anything.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't like Raspberry Pis. I've figured that out the hard way. But I do like setting up an old games console.
I think the last 6 weeks have knocked all the setting things up out of me that there will ever be.
You're just going to buy Mac from now on.
Okay, you know the most irritating thing about that fucking thread is like it's still going and people are still like retweeting or whatever, but it's hit like the Mac side of Twitter now, and everyone's like, should have bought a Mac, and it's like, motherfucker, how much money would I have to spend on a Mac to make it do the things I need it to do?
The Mac Pro that you're looking at, the spec of the bare minimum you'd have to pay is €5,000.
So
The bare
I'm talking
minimum.
64 gigs of RAM, and that's like you can only get certain Dells with that much.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
You can't, like, certain Macs have a similar spec, but that'd be closer to 10 grand, honestly.
Yeah.
I built my PC, and after doing that, like, it stressed me out doing it so much. But after doing it, I was just like, well, I'll never do that again. I'll just buy one. But since your story, I was just like, I guess I'll just have to relearn everything and do it again.
Yeah. No,
I got one more gaming memory that's kind of like yours, Brian.
Yeah.
My friend, he had to study for his leaving cert, and I wasn't doing my leaving cert. So he packed up his original Xbox with a copy of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and gave it to me. And that just was one of the best games I ever played, and loved it so much.
That's a good chunk of time.
Mm-hmm. I think they might be doing a remaster of that. If they do a remaster of Star Wars...
it's one of those shameful, like, empty spots on my list. I really want to play it. I've heard so many good things about it.
It's so good. My only wish is that you can pick, like, if they did a remaster of it, that you'd be able to pick a female Revan, like, character. That would be ideal for Niamh, and that you could still romance Bastila. Let me be gay and Bastila be my girlfriend.
I'm sure if they updated it, they would consider all of those aspects.
They would consider it, but, you know, people would be so mad about it.
Fuck them.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, Niamh,
Brian,
it has to stop somewhere. It has to stop somewhere.
Fuck them, John. They can go shove it. I know I shouldn't be saying that, but they should.
We've talked about that phrase particularly, Brian, the shove it phrase, and how we don't want that on the podcast.
They can drink a glass of piss. I don't care. Fuck the homophobes.
Thanks, Brian. True ally.
Also, it was Lesbian Day, wasn't it, the other day?
Yeah, I was born.
happy Lesbian Day. Keep on lesing.
Yeah, thanks to everyone in the Discord who wished me a happy birthday. And I was like, it's not my birthday,
I know, but it was really funny. Because a bunch of people were like, it is happy birthday. And it's like, it's in January, but sure.
But yeah, it was Lesbian Day of Visibility the other day. Thank you, Discord. You're very sweet.
It's a very sweet Discord. Speaking of which, Patreon shoutouts. Okay, I have a little announcement about our Patreon.
Yes.
For the next 2 weeks, our Patreon will not be accepting new donations. If you were planning to, tough shit. No new donations for the next 2 weeks. And listen, I'm telling you right now, don't anyone dare fucking contribute $3 to the Let's Fight a Boss Patreon. I'm not going to say what's going to happen if you do, but if you do, if I see new fucking people in that Discord, you do not want... It's. I want you to imagine your worst nightmare, and now I want you to imagine it multiplied by World War II. That's what it's going to fucking look like, okay? I'm not pissing around here. And listen, I know...
It's not World War II, it's World War U.
It's World War fucking U. And look, I know a bunch of you little children like to toy with me on this podcast, and I'm letting you know, this one time, do not give $3 to the Let's Fight a Boss Patreon. It's not going to end well for anyone. It's not worth the curiosity. Or maybe you'll be the one that's able to slip through the system. Look, I don't know. I can't predict the future, Niamh.
The weak can't.
I can't, you know? The weak absolutely can't. And so maybe if you really, really want to test your mettle on this one, you can try it. But buddy, it's going to be fucking Chinatown.
Climb that fucking mountain. Mm-hmm. Can you?
And also, you get to have your message read out on the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast, just like these fine folks from 2.5 years ago.
So in August 2019, you would have sounded something like this. John, I think this one's for you.
I'll let you take this one, Bryan.
Okay, fine. Scene Revivalism Zealot. I sure hope Jam helps us find out what Obama's last name is once he becomes queen. Wait, when Obama becomes queen or you?
When Jam becomes queen.
When Jam...
I'm guessing...
What's Obama's last name, John?
Yeah.
Walsh.
Obama Walsh.
Obama Walsh. There you...
I am guessing that's like a joke we made 2 years ago and don't remember.
His name is Obama.
Yeah. With like an apostrophe because he's got Irish heritage.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read this next one. For Bryan, alert, attention, Kirby needs your help.
He's fine.
He's dead, Bryan.
He's got lives, it's fine.
And this is from 3 a.m.
That's such a...
That was from Ghosty Goo, by the way.
I am Ferdinand von Air.
I hope it was worth it, buddy.
He got one shot.
It was your one shot. You waited 2 years.
You pull that trigger.
Woo!
Do we acknowledge the game that we're not playing yet?
No, it's still in the... It's still cooking.
It's still cooking?
It's in Mama's kitchen.
Listen, Niamh is mixing that witch's brew, and she's getting it just right. It'll happen.
I have a job.
She has to keep stirring it, otherwise it's going to get that weird skin on top.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, but it's brewing, and it's brewing so it can be as decent as that will ever be.
I think we have talked quite a bit about how this is going to play out, and we have mixed in ways to fuck with each other that I'm very, very excited about.
You know Danganronpa? Danganronpa ain't got shit in this. No. Actually, one other thing about our Patreon, some people have a bit of trouble getting links to the black tapes, which is the first 30 episodes, well, what's there of them, which from time to time we find new episodes where...
Which has happened recently.
I think it's 26 out of 30 are correctly archived, which is a good number. Mm-hmm. That's solid. But some people have trouble finding the links to the black tapes and to our exclusive Discord full of very strong individuals. If you are having this issue, send us a private message on Patreon. We can check who you are and we can verify you. No issue. This shouldn't be happening. It's just some sort of weird robot error, and you know what robots are like. Not the best.
Sometimes, like, I'll be at a con and someone will come up and be like, I've listened to every episode of Let's Fight a Bosscast, and I'll look at them and go, have you? And I'll just walk away because I don't think they've listened to the black tapes.
No. Or the ones that we recorded that got like scrambled.
See, if you're a real fan.
If you're a real fan, you would have broken into my apartment and taken my hard drive and listened to corrupted files.
You'll get on that Wayback Machine and you will find a way. Oh. Loot drop.
We got some goodies for you, and they're ripe.
They're so ripe. Straight away, I got the Fire Escape podcast, and I normally don't like other video game podcasts. That's not true. They're all I listen to. But this is by Mary Kish, Dan Riker, and Mike Mahardy, and I really like all these guys, and it's super fun to hear them do a podcast again, and I really miss them. And They are every other week, and they are on the alternating week to us on the same day. So if you need your one girl, two guys podcast, there you go. Something about that felt really wrong to phrase, and I don't know why.
I resent all of that.
Yeah. My loot drop is the Lions Lounge. If you are
The Lions Lounge.
The Lions Lounge.
It's some swanky ass shit.
My name is Niamh, and my loot drop is...
It's the Lions Lounge. I'm so sorry, Mike. If you were part of our Discord, you might know Spaceline Mike. And this is his YouTube channel, The Lions Lounge, where he makes cocktails based on different media. I got really into drinking cocktails this lockdown because we're still in lockdown and I've nothing better to do, and I wanted to see if I could make some nice cocktails. And what Mike does at why can't I say the Lions Lounge? It's like a tongue twister. What Mike does at the Lions Lounge is he'll give a little review on a piece of anime. Maybe it's Vinland Saga, or a game like If Found, or Akira, or...
What's the Akira cocktail?
Slam Dunk, Resident Evil Village, Batman Beyond. He'll do themed cocktails based on different media with a little review. And he'll give you the recipe, he'll give you the tasting notes, and it has really broadened my knowledge about cocktail making in general. And I have made a few cocktails based on his recipes, and they've turned out really nice. And I've learned a lot from his channel, and they're very nice, easy recipes and videos. And he's recommended a lot of good media.
He is an old school Elfaber as well.
He is, yeah.
From way back.
Yeah, we've met him in person at
Lovely
Magfest, lovely guy. But yeah, no, he really gets like the palette and tone of a piece of media and translates that into a delightful alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, so the one I'm going to drop specifically is the Lunar Tear and the beautiful imperfect flower that is near. I made this drink. It was really nice.
Yum.
Mine
is a YouTuber called Bob Dunga. Her real name is Raven Simone, but spelt differently.
Okay, I was just like, what?
I know, right? She does videos on girly games for the handhelds from the late 2000s,
There's
early
so
2010s.
many of them.
Because the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS got a lot of shovelware, but it got a lot of girly game, customize, outfit, Barbie horse adventure, adjacent games. This one is on the Girl Games of Lost Media, where she talks about the video game tie-ins that they were going to do for Mean Girls and Clueless and a couple of others that were announced, got developed, but then got scrapped. And it's her kind of going down that rabbit hole, and the video is nearly like an hour long, and it's just like, it's a very niche thing, but it's someone who knows their thing about that niche thing, and they go places. But I really, really like her channel. She has a great video on Donkey Kong Country. She has a great video on games you played at the doctor's waiting room. I really, really like her channel. It has 30k subs, and it's going to keep growing. It's someone to look out for. The algorithm recommended it to me, but she seems to be very well connected with other internet people. She's friends with Abby from X Giant Bomb. So so in this video, she gets a bunch of YouTubers and internet people to voice act a sequence, and so she gets Abby from Giant Bomb to do a bit.
That's cool.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and it's just a really fun video that I didn't know I needed to watch, and then I did, and I felt it was a lot of fun. Really like her channel.
That sounds great. And that's the end of this episode. Niamh, what are your thoughts on this episode? Like, just general, let's just vibe for a minute here.
Do you have any apologies yet?
No, I think I was pretty good. I'm sorry to Mike. Kind of fucked up the name of his channel.
Just say it now, but just say it clearly.
The Lions Lounge.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was
all right.
Yeah.
That was some very good speech and drama.
Yeah.
Very
I
eloquent.
have so much trauma over speech and drama.
Oh my god.
More like speech and trauma.
Yeah. I really didn't like how they made you use a British accent. because I don't know, because like stage theater is.
What? That didn't happen to me.
Yeah, for us, like whenever we had to read out something, we had to enunciate. But like they made us do this weird British accent. I don't know what they were going. Like we were like, can we not just say it in a normal
Where'd
voice?
your trauma come from?
Oh man. Ugh.
Because I think for speech and drama, I was just like, hooray, dicking around time.
No, ours was weird. We had to copy down like some dialogue to say,
Or like a big
and
poem.
I was really like self-conscious about my spelling because I was dyslexic, and the smartest boy in the class, Jared, was sitting behind me, and he was like, I'll copy from you as you copy from the thing. And I was like, no. And it just got really weird. I did exactly one class and it stressed me out so much that I never went back. So that was my drama. It was someone looking at my spelling.
For me, that was me when I did karate as a kid. Did one class. It was too cold and I started crying. And my mum was like... And like I went in and I was like, I'm not wearing the white outfit like everyone else is. And I was like, well, I'm not buying it for you if you're going to for your first class. And I was like, no, I'll like it more if I wear the outfit. And so I just wore shorts and it was too cold and I started crying.
You were right, Brian. You do like it more if you wear the outfit.
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna.
There's no reality where you got into karate, Brian.
No, I just played in the mud like a normal child.
Let's fight a boss, everybody.